area, I still just didn't believe it. I thought it was just localized to what I saw. But now, after 25 years of being deeply plugged into what's happening in the real world and focused 16 hours a day on news and information and sources, I can tell you 100%. But you already know this too. It's all over the news these days. They can't hide it. It's just oozing out from the floorboards. Like John Wayne Gacy, the stench of the dead bodies. The cops finally come over, he invites them in for coffee. They could smell the rotten meat coming out of the vents in the floor as they drank coffee. They couldn't wait to get out and get a search warrant. In the case of the globalists, the deputy pope's been caught kidnapping and raping over 100 children. Every globalist you turn around is constantly getting caught. You've got Skull and Bones, Bohemian Grove. Those are just gateways into it. And then here it is today. The president of the Washington Post and his wife were hardcore black magic practitioners. She's written a book about it. Who she believes they killed people with black magic. That's up on Infowars.com right now. It's from Breitbart. Gatekeepers of D.C. society, Sally Quinn, comes out as a cultist, use hexes to kill people, and she wants you to know how powerful she is, and she can kill you now. Talk about lunatics. But why is that so interesting? Without even trying in today's stack, and we have the audio of it coming up in Hillary's own voice, Hillary Clinton, I wanted to make voodoo dolls of reporters, lawmakers, and stick them with pins. Now, you have to understand, the Clintons have had vacations in Haiti. They have visited voodoo priests. They've spent weeks in voodoo churches. They practice demon possession. That's what voodoo is, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you believe in it or not, it is the trying to get spirits to come into you. And I've had guests on that work for the Clintons. It's even come out. Tony Blair's wife is into it. Francois Mitterrand. I mean, they're all into it. It was in the London Telegraph years ago that Tony Blair every morning goes into his little chapel and falls to his knees, flopping around on the ground. Flopping around on the ground when he's possessed by the spirit of the light. Tony Blair every morning becomes possessed, falling on the ground, having a convulsion. He believes the spirit enters him. This is just today's news. Her new book, How Much She Loves Voodoo. The former president, Ben Bradley of the Washington Post, had his wife, she believes, kill people for him with hexes. Here's Hillary. Here's another one, though. Oh, Seattle Mayor Ed Murray resigns after 5th child sex abuse allegation. And surprise, surprise, he looks just like John Wayne Gacy. They all look like John Wayne Gacy. Hastert looks like John Wayne Gacy. Menendez looks like John Wayne Gacy. The deputy pope looks like John Wayne Gacy. They always look the same. It's weird. They can even be black. They look the same, or Hispanic. In a few minutes, we're going to Diamond and Silk. They don't need any introduction. Everybody loves them. And these ladies have been big supporters of Trump all along. But the reason I originally been trying to get them on the last week, it's perfect to have them on now to talk about this, get their view, is Google. YouTube is censoring them, admittedly. Cutting off the revenue 90%. They've done it to us. And what do they say? They say extremist or bigoted or hateful. Well, we're trying to bring everybody together. But that's what they're doing. They're saying anybody that supports Trump is a racist. Trump's done so much, but the media says he's done nothing. In fact, he's a KKK member. And in fact, I am and you are. We're all bigots. And we're not allowed to even have our YouTube channels. Paul Watson's having his banned. But you ladies are talking about a class action suit. Let me tell you, I'm not a litigious person, but when we're getting discriminated, that's real discrimination. When people act like they've got an open and free platform, and then they use you and use your videos and YouTube, the you in it. The lawyers have said, Congress has said, Congressman Warbacher's talked to the lawyers. This is a total civil rights violation, not giving us service. So Diamond and Silk, you ladies are here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So lay it out. What's happening?
Well, you know, YouTube stopped the monetization of our videos the other day, about 95%, saying it's not suitable for all advertisers. Now, we're in good standard with YouTube. We've been in good standard for the past 2 years. The past 2 years, they had us monetized. Now, all of a sudden, they have stopped the monetization on those videos. The deal is that we talk about the president. We are loyal supporters to the president. We talk about his agenda. Now, you're telling us that we're in good standards with YouTube, but what you speak is controversial, so no advertisers want to advertise around you. Well, why is YouTube deciding what the advertisers should be advertising around? Why not let the advertisers pick and choose based on demographics?
Exactly.
So this is clearly discrimination, prejudice, and bias.
That's right.
And it won't be tolerated.
And it's a breach of their contract.
That's right, because we signed a term and agreement where you click on the term of service. When you click on the button, that was you was agreeing to their terms of service.
That's right.
And though they are a private organization, they are open to serve the public.
That's right.
Okay? And they allowed us that platform, but we built that platform one subscriber at a time.
That's right.
So YouTube have some explaining to do. We have been victimized. This is bias, and this is clearly discrimination.
That's right.
To tell me I can't talk about my president, and if I do, I'm going to withhold something from you, that's not fair to us because we built that platform.
That's right.
So I don't believe that YouTube thought this all the way out and thought this all the way through.
And every business have a right to regulate, but they do not have a right to discriminate, intimidate, and manipulate in order to dominate. They don't have a right to do that.
Right.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. It's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're live, broadcasting worldwide. I am your host, Alex Jones. We're going to be here for the next 4 hours live. There is so much incredible news and information to cover. But the first thing I'm going to get into is the fact that when you get to the bottom of the rabbit hole in this world, you find Satanism and you find pedophilia. And every day, despite the fact that the globalists are trying to hide this information, it is coming out in mainstream news. Look at this New York Mag headline. Clinton linked to satanic rituals involving kidnapped children and Marina Abramovich. That was them last year making fun of it. But look, they're not making fun of it now. Hillary Clinton has come out in her new book. We're getting the audio right now. And talked about how she likes to practice voodoo. But look at this story. The CEO of the Washington Post, the president, vice president until his death in 2014, his widow, Ben Bradley's widow, Sally Quinn, the Lady of D.C. as she's known, one of the top socialites of the Democratic Party and Republican Party, both friends with JFK. That's how Bradley got his start. Says that they conducted satanic rituals, black magic rituals, and killed people. That's the headline. Gatekeeper of D.C. society, Sally Quinn, comes out as an occultist, used hex to kill people. When you read what she was into, it's black magic. What does John Podesta admittedly go to in the emails? Not the pizza place they diverted people off onto in D.C. In New York, he's invited by Abramovich, who says she does real rituals, Aleister Crowley rituals. With blood, semen, you name it, children attending the events. And these are just the public gateway events. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to show any more of it on there. Just get her off. Her little vampire outfit. So that's who these evil, selfish, grasping people are. And there's more. It's in the news every day. More high-level cardinals busted with little kids. The deputy pope caught being indicted for kidnapping and running hundreds of little boys. And now, Seattle Mayor Ed Murray resigns after fifth child sex abuse allegation of raping children. And then take a look at Ed Murray's face and then pull up Ted Bundy. Pull up John Wayne Gacy. That's what he really looks like. Pull up Senator Menendez on trial right now and just look at the faces on these. The mayor, Bill de Blasio of New York's right-hand guy, got caught with hardcore child porn. Never even got mentioned in the news that he was connected to the mayor. Look at Weiner, Anthony Weiner. Look at Dennis Hastert. Look at all of them. They have the same little piggy faces and the same little piggy eyes. And that's who's in power. That's your Speaker of the House. That's your mayors. That's who's in charge. And while the boys are running around chasing your little boys, the girls are putting on black cloaks and doing satanic rituals and telling you in autobiographies that they killed people during rituals. Now, why are they telling you they killed people? Because they believe they're losing right now. And in black magic, if you can tell somebody you did it or you're going to do it, it ups the power. It's called lesser magic. I don't believe in it. They do. I'm like an anthropologist, a sociologist, a psychologist, a lay psychiatrist looking at crazy people with their magical thinking. But this is the psychopathic behavior. It's the mindset. It's the criminology. Every day, just today, Hillary, I love voodoo. I want to use voodoo against my enemies. And then we have that whole history of her. You heard that here years ago that she's into voodoo. Let's get Larry Nichols on today. See if he'll answer the phone. You heard it from countless others. I've read it in the newspapers about her back when she was First Lady. I've talked to folks in Hollywood. They say it's rampant. The child molestation, the devil worship. Hillary Clinton, I wanted to make voodoo dolls of reporters, lawmakers, and stick them with pins. That's just part of her coming out. And then gatekeeper of D.C. society, Sally Quinn, comes out as an occultist, used hex to kill people. And again, she believes she's killing people. You and I, meaning normal people, we look at our thought leaders, our media and our culture overlords, and the ruling class, and oftentimes wonder how they can be so venal, dishonest in pursuit of what they want and what they most want of us all is control of our lives. And it just goes on how they want to run our lives completely. So again, we look at the ruling class and oftentimes wonder how they can be so venal, dishonest in pursuit of what they want. What they want most of all is control over our lives, over normal people. Those of us who do not want to control anyone, we just want to be left alone. Exactly. Very, very powerful, very, very simple. And so you see the devil worship news, the devil worship information, going from just being rumors, the child molestation, the pedophilia, the occult, from rumors to they're getting busted across the board. So now they're trying to normalize it. Yeah, we're devil worshipers. Yeah, we like kids. What's she going to do about it? They're desperately trying to condition you through MTV and through Viacom and through sexualization of children and through tolerance training that the government gets to sexualize your 5-year-old children and start telling them about sexual preferences and sexual acts. Those are pre-acts of serious pedophilia. Those are grooming and sexualization preparation. And it's come out against the British royal family. It's come out against the British and aristocracy of Europe as well. It's come out that the BBC is just riddled And now it's breaking an elite pedophile ring supermarket's been discovered in Portugal. That's why the globalists are obsessed with refugees and third world populations the UN can control. Sir Edward Heath was a pedophile, says police chief. Astonishing claim is made that the former PM is guilty of vile crimes covered up by the establishment, close quote. And then you read this. To put it bluntly, this is from the memoir. We're now learning that the Queen of Camelot is an occultist, a witch of sorts, who honestly believes, according to her own memoir, that she murdered 3 innocent people. And then it goes into how she killed them. And this is just what they're putting in their memoirs. Now, why do you think back in 1987 they'd have somebody like Martin Sheen in a movie called The Believers come out and have a whole production about voodoo cults in New York City and voodoo cults in D.C. and voodoo cults in Chicago and voodoo cults running and controlling politics? When we come back, I'll play the actual trailer for you. Now, because the one we had on screen's not it, just a heads up. I found it back there on my computer, or John back there can give it to you if you want to go ask him. But continuing, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand who you're dealing with. You want to be left alone. You want to be wholesome. You want to have a nice life. You don't want to run people's life. You're not a megalomaniac, narcissist, sociopath, or psychopath, or masochist who wants to hurt people. And so you're blind to the fact that they organize themselves into positions of power and get into positions of power. And that's why every civilization has histories and stories and legends about how groups get together and become evil and become possessed and start doing horrible, vicious, evil things to people. And how demon possession, a spirit, comes in the world and takes control of people. Whether you believe in the spirit world or not, there is a mass mental illness that develops in complex civilizations of people falling to an evil computer program, falling to psychopathic activity. In ancient Greek cities, they would start having people go insane as well and start living in the catacombs or in the hills. And a lot of times on weekends, they would have vampire hunting forays to go out and kill the crazy people, because the crazy people would grab you in the night, drag you into a cave, and drink your blood. They had the same thing in Eastern Europe, the same thing in Western Europe, the same thing in Africa, the same thing in Mesoamerica. Every culture had vampires. They don't live forever. They're not really Count Dracula, but they want to grab you or your child and suck your blood. They want to torture you. They want power over you. And Hillary Clinton and all the rest of the top Democrats and that babbling idiot Pelosi, guaranteed you can watch her know, they're devil worshipers. They're blood drinkers.
You want to say...
And everybody will have lower rates, more, better quality care, and better access. I don't remember saying that everybody in the country would have a lower premium.
That's why your spotlight on the cockroaches, Alex, is so important. That's really what we the people, that's what our job is.
Oh, this guy isn't doing too good. Ted Nugent was telling me about this guy. He looks like he's pretty sick. Is that Nancy Pelosi, or is that Chucky Schumer, or is that, what's her name? The one that can't remember who attacked Korea. She thinks it was Putin.
And the fact that he is wrapping his arms around Putin while Putin is continuing to advance into Korea.
Believe me, Pelosi is the enemy. Maxine Waters, I don't even know what planet she's from. I mean, the Democrats, the left, the liberals, these are strange, bizarre, anti-logic, anti-American freaks. Each and every one of them.
Doing what Ted Nugent told me. said, turn the lights on, Pat. That light over there. It's over there. Right over there. That Nugent said, turn the lights on.
Spotlight the cockroaches. You've perfected that over the years.
Nancy Pelosi sick.
Nancy Pelosi needs medical attention.
Well, at least it's going to be national causes.
Democratic Party has just been screaming racism over and over again. And, hey, ladies, hold on. Come on over here. Nancy Pelosi came by the house. Did you know that?
However, these freaks are serious, and they threaten to kill our family because we hunt, because we believe in the Second Amendment, because we trounce and spotlight the cockroaches on the left that hate America, hate the Constitution, hate the American dream, hate independence.
Why do they hate it? Why do they hate it? Okay, here comes Donald Trump. Pat, will you please assist me with the camera? Here comes Donald Trump with the assistance of the American people.
We are going to drain the swamp.
Mr. Moore, your chauffeur's here. Let me, no, don't try to get out. Let me just help you a little bit. You don't want to be violent or anything like Antifa. We're not being violent.
Is this cool or what?
No Michael Moores were hurt in the filming of this. This is a much more useful creature. A carrion beetle that eats rotten meat. Oh, let's get all of our friend in there.
We, the people, are supposed to be hellraisers. We're not supposed to act like French and Canadians. Because to be an extremist, to be a radical, are like those Americans who went to Concord Bridge when the British were going to take our guns, and we didn't sit down and have tea with them. We shot them in the damn head. We killed them. You come to take away our guns, we'll cut you in half. Somebody write that down.
Bye, Democratic Party. And and Paul Ryan's down in there too. Bye-bye, Paul Ryan. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
You look at my wonderful birth city of Detroit, was the work ethic epicenter, the productivity epicenter of the globe when I was born in 1948, until Mayor Coleman Young and the liberal Democrats took over and trained people, brainwashed people, de-sold the people that you don't have to try. You just stay home, or you go ahead and make Chrysler products that won't even run, and will still send you a bonus check. Well, when you give people something, you turn them into zombies. The worst thing you can do to a human being is to give him stuff, because then he has no pride of work ethic or ownership or earning his own way.
We are back live, ladies and gentlemen. So when I say Nancy Pelosi is one of these occultists, I know that she was friends with the lady that says she was a black magic witch and one of the top Democrats in D.C. and married to the guy that ran the Washington Post forever. And when I say she's a blood drinker, I mean the fake wars they've launched, the Arab Spring, the abortions they support, the Planned Parenthood, all of it. Their actions supporting and covering up the sexualization of children in schools. So if they're not physical devil worshipers that get down on their knees to the devil, they get down on their knees to almighty power and to corruption and to the system. And it's time that we see through it and understand it and know why Hollywood and all the culture tells us what's going on up on top of the castle at night. They tell us through art and through literature, so that when we actually speak up about the real thing, people think, oh, that's just entertainment. That's just Count Dracula novel. Just like they have Geostorm coming out about weather modification and global weather control. They admit it's going on, it's happening. So, oh, now that the public's awakening, here's a big movie. So people say, oh, you just heard about that in a movie. But if you just joined us, top Democrats, gatekeeper of D.C. society, comes out as a cultist who believes that they killed 3 people using black magic. That's the headline. Hillary Clinton wanted to craft voodoo dolls of Congress and the media. I have a clip of that we're going to play here in a moment. And then we have the trailer to the 1987 film Believers with Martin Sheen. And no, I'm not saying Martin Sheen's into voodoo. He's into He's into yoga and is a Buddhist. I know him. The point is that this is just all part of art imitating life or life imitating art. There's this submerged system of occultism and pedophilia. Here's another one. Seattle Mayor Ed Murray resigns after 5th child sex abuse allegation. Senator Menendez is in trouble for it. It's everywhere every day. And now we've just gotten used to it where it comes out and then nothing's done. Here's Hillary Clinton dreaming of voodoo dolls.
It was like quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. At times, I thought I must be going crazy. Other times, I was sure it was the world that had gone nuts. Sometimes I snapped at my staff. I was tempted to make voodoo dolls of certain members of the press and Congress and stick them full of pins. Mostly, I was furious at myself.
There you go. Let's play the trailer for the 1987 film, The Believers. Here it is. Coming from Orion Pictures.
More than anything else, Cal Jameson wants to leave the horror of his old life behind. Now, in his new life, he's about to discover that the real horror is just beginning.
Don't you come any closer! You see what they did to the kid in there?
You said he found a body on an altar with a lot of religious paraphernalia, right?
A religion as old as time.
One life from each of us counts.
Versus an unimaginable force for evil.
This ritual's being performed now. One life is all he has.
Nothing can stop them.
It's a power you can't imagine.
Want them to know who you are? Do you?
What have they done to you, Sean?
I can't move. No one can help you.
They got my shield. Let them get it.
You looked into his eyes, and you both saw the power of the man who killed them.
Jessica!
They know who you are.
Chris was chosen, Cal. When he found the show, it was a sign. We want you to join us.
Chris!
So the film is there's a nationwide network of devil worshippers practicing voodoo, taking over political systems. And when you study Barack Obama and his wife, when you study the Clintons, they all go to voodoo shaman. They have honeymoons on Haiti. They're constantly around it. It's in all the literature. Tony Blair does voodoo rituals. It's Francois Mitterrand. It's all there. And then they write memoirs saying we kill people with this stuff. We're talking leaders in D.C. Now, they're totally insane. That's certainly for certain. These people are dangerous, they're scum, and they're everywhere. We got to call their bluff, and just like It the Clown, have no fear of them. That breaks their will and their father, the devil's will, with the name Jesus Christ.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
And we're not getting what humans always thought was key, the bone broth. 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 Well, now it's the next level of that. It's caveman. But hey, I need a glass of caveman. Caveman. Man, it's better than Ovaltine. Better than Ovaltine. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Caveman is just over the top. What in the world? But now with the milk, I was like, whoa, this has milk in it. Whoa. It tastes like good. Man, this tastes so good. Tastes like the best milkshake ever. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. Whoa.
I can say without a doubt, at least in my experience,
this is a super home run available at InfoWarsLife.com, and it supports the broadcast. All right, all the big news straight ahead. He trolled him. He baited him. He trolled him. He baited him. He trolled him. He baited him. I wish I was that smart. See, that's the Trump dimension. That's the Trump dimension. He trolled. That's the Trump dimension. He baited. That's the Trump dimension. He trolled. That's the Trump dimension. That's the Trump dimension. He trolled. That's the Trump dimension. He baited. I wish I was that smart. See, that's the Trump dimension. It's Trump. The plan of Trump. And thus, by extension, Trump. Trump just trolled you. But that's okay. It's Trump. The plan of Trump. And thus, by extension, Trump.
It's Paul Joseph Watson, and the T-shirt has finally arrived. Nothing triggers safe space snowflakes more than this slogan and my face. It is the new T-shirt from InfoWarsStore.com. Conservatism is the new counterculture. You've seen how much this triggers the safe space snowflakes. The left controls culture. They control arts. They control entertainment. They have the complete monopoly on culture, which is why conservatism is the new counterculture. We are striking back in the culture war. This triggers snowflakes like nothing you've ever seen in your life. You've seen how much they absolutely hate the image of my face and that particular slogan, conservatism is the new counterculture. This t-shirt is not only a conversation starter, it will trigger the holy hell out of leftists. It will make me incredibly happy. It's available right now. Get yours at InfoWarsStore.com.
3-9.
But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really? To change the weather?
That's right. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War to wash out the Viet Cong.
Was alleged to. Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
These clouds were located up in the southern part of North Vietnam and would need to make rain down on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, Highway 1.
Alleged to. Alleged to.
My name is Ben Livingston. I'm the first person to ever see a cloud with the intention to cause it to do military damage.
It's also what happens when you listen to the radio host, Alex Jones.
Move, bitch! Get out the way!
We pledge allegiance to one flag, and that flag is the American flag.
Infowars helped fuel the rumor that President Obama is an ISIS supporter.
It's been a cozy relationship from the beginning.
I will not let you down. You will be very, very impressed, I hope. And I think we'll be speaking a lot.
Donald Trump and Alex Jones.
This means that Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States.
Waging war on corruption. It's
Alex Jones.
All right, I want to open the phones up throughout the broadcast today as we intersperse a lot of key news and information. But where do you think we go from here now that every day another senator or another mayor of a major city or another major Hollywood person has to step down or is indicted for molesting children and trafficking in children? And then what do you make of all these top Democrats coming out and saying, yeah, we do satanic rituals. Yeah, we do voodoo. Yeah, we kill people. You just joined us, gatekeeper of D.C. society, Sally Quinn, comes out as an occultist, says she uses hexes to kill 3 people. And to show how crazy she is, she didn't like what an astrologer told her, so she says that she killed the astrologer. Now, whether she's completely insane, really did have her physically poisoned or killed, or the woman just died of natural causes, it shows how completely disconnected from reality these insane people are and how they all get together to the point where somebody like Dianne Feinstein gets up on television and says, if you're a Catholic, you can't be trusted to be a federal judge because of your extreme dogma. They're so disconnected that the Christians are who have to be banned. They're the bad ones, not them, not the occultists. And then Hillary Clinton wanted to craft voodoo dolls of Congress and the media. That story's up on Infowars.com. Clinton linked to satanic rituals involving kidnapped children and Marina Abramovich. What were they going to do back in November of last year when that broke? That was in New York. That was in the emails. Oh, make it about a pizza place. Because the code words were about pizza. So you just pick a pizza place. You focus on that. A pizza place that has fundraisers, so you can have a bunch of names involved, so folks take the bait, and then make all Satanism and all kidnapping and all pedophilia about that. So if I say, oh, the mayor of Seattle just stepped down over a 5th sex abuse report of a small child, how dare I say Hillary's killing people in a pizza place? Because there's no such thing as pedophilia. Even though this is in the Seattle Times, Seattle Mayor Ed Murray resigns after 5th child sex abuse allegation. They're not going to be able to brand everything on the Pizzagate and then claim that there's no such thing, and it's all a Salem witch trial. There's no such thing as devil worshipers. There's no such thing as Satanism when it's rampant. And just look at these people. So I want to get your take on that. 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231 is the toll-free number for you to join us. 800-259-9231. The websites are Infowars.com and Newswars.com and, of course, PrisonPlanet.com. Now, let me get into some of the other huge news we've got here. And you're welcome to talk about any topic you want, but I'd like people to comment on the occult, on the pedophilia, on just why have we allowed these people to get in place everywhere, and why are they more and more bragging about it out in the open? Because they're getting busted, so they're trying to act confident and normalize it. That's why. First-time callers also are welcome. 800-259-9231. Now, why are they mad at Trump? Because he's not a devil worshiper or a pedophile. Seriously, he's not in the club. It's a big club and you ain't in it. White House fuels optimism amongst U.S. manufacturers as manufacturing surges. Just 36,000 new jobs in manufacturing in August alone. Since August. Continuing, U.S. middle class incomes reached highest ever level in 2016, Census Bureau. Highest middle class ever. Bouncing back. Now, a lot of that's inflation, but at least the number's up from what it was in the last decade. We've been in a 10-year recession. Obamacare's out-of-pocket cost for specialty drugs increases 16% in 1 year. Hillary should be prosecuted over destroyed evidence, says Judge Napolitano. Rasmussen poll, more than half say Clinton should retire. White House, Justice Department should look into prosecuting Comey for leaking classified info. He did it, cut and dry, and lied to Congress before saying he'd not been involved in leaks, and we knew now the date he had been leaking. He is a liar. Poll, more Americans have a gun in the home than ever before. Good news. U.S. Senator says on the Equifax hack, somebody needs to go to jail. That's just some of the news on that front. You know, I remember seeing Illinois, California, Wisconsin, and a bunch of other states try to pass laws that got to their governor's desk last year to let all illegal aliens, not just naturalized folks, vote. And here it is from Fox 5 DC, reporting it like it's a good thing. College Park to allow non-U.S. citizens the right to vote in local elections. Think about that. College Park to allow non-U.S. citizens the right to vote in local elections. We have the video of the vote. They voted to do something no country's ever done in the history of the world. Take people, it says fresh off a boat, fresh over the border. They joined 6 other towns. See, it's already spreading. Just in that state, allowing illegal permanent residents and undocumented immigrants, that's illegal aliens, to vote in municipal elections. They've had bills passed in California and passed in Illinois that get to the governor's desk, but it's so illegal and creates such a constitutional crisis that they have never signed them. But now, in Maryland, that's 7 towns. 7 towns that illegal aliens can just show up to with not even a real ID. So that means they can go around in the names of dead people. The Democrats line them up. They load them on buses. We have 3 Democratic officials on video, high-level ones nationally. We have the head of the New York elections, who's a good guy, saying it's all fraud. It should be stopped. He was removed. All the people engaged in fraud, admittedly, they weren't removed. They were promoted. And they give somebody on average 10 names of dead people who are on the voting rolls, who've died. They cull the numbers out of the obituary. They index it with people on the voter roll, and they drive you around. And your name could be Hans Christensen. And it's somebody from Mexico or somebody from China just walking up, no ID needed, in these Democrat states, and you vote. Total organized fraud, organized crime, and then the average Democratic constituent knows that and thinks they're fighting for some socialist utopia, and by getting illegals to vote, they're going to get power and then take all the rich people's money, when it's the ultra-rich that engineered this to destroy the middle class and implode the country and bring in a police state. So they're using our openness to do this, and it's totally criminal, and it's why we've got to have voter rules in all the country, and we've got to have state laws saying well, I think there already are state laws. The state laws already say who can vote. In fact, there are state laws on voting, and it's the federal Constitution as well. It's citizens, 18 years of age or up. If you've got a dishonorable discharge, you can't vote or own a gun if you're a felon, but illegal aliens, they can vote. Most areas, felons can vote. I'm all for it. I think once you've served your time, you should be able to whatever. I think felons should be able to have guns, because they're going to have guns anyways, and if they've righted themselves, they have a right to defend themselves. We let felons have guns until about 50 years ago, but I'm digressing. I see these articles all the time where with a straight face, they're like, they deserve to vote. So San Francisco's voted to let illegals vote. They'll call them undocumented migrants. Remember, they were called illegal aliens until just about 5 years ago, but then the media said the word is undocumented migrants, and you'll use that word. And we all dutifully use that word, and then that comes into the nomenclature. And don't use the word mother and father or boy or girl. You're all purple penguins now. And we've got all the little books for the 5-year-olds about Heather has 2 mommies, and Daddy has a friend that comes over and lives, and well, Daddy turned into a girl or Mommy turned into a boy, so we can brutalize and sexually abuse the minds of little children, trying to screw them up as hard as we can. And Salon and everybody else says pedophilia is good. That way, the mayor of San Francisco or the mayor of whatever other city ends up getting in trouble, the mayor of Seattle who just stepped down, they won't have to step down. Hell, you can take your little 5-year-olds into him. He can maybe take them out on dates at night. You can dress your son up, some little knickers for him, take him on into the mayor. Hell, dress your son up like a little girl. Bring him into him. Maybe put some clown makeup on the mayor. Maybe dress him up like Hit the Clown. That'll make it more fun for your child. After all, it's just tolerance. And then the real way they're hurting your kids is the vaccines. Yes, I know you can learn immunity from a vaccine, but they have vaccine damage immunity since the 80s. Tens of billions have been paid out secretly to damage children. The inserts say they can kill you or give you type 1 diabetes or cause narcolepsy or cause all sorts of neurological disorders, cancer, liver failure, leukemia. It all says it on the inserts, but they never want to give you the inserts. They just say, safe and effective, it's for your baby. And the doctors, they don't want to take the vaccines. They're all dodging them. They know how dangerous they are, what it does to them and their nurses. They're some of the most unvaccinated groups out there. They falsify the reports for each other. But when you come in, they intimidate you for the big guild, big pharma, and tell you it's the law. And if you say, no, it's not the law, they say, you're right, it's not the law, but I choose not to give you service. I choose not to render care. You take your son, your daughter, your baby, you take them and you leave because you're endangering everybody else. Really, if you take the flu shot or the hepatitis shot and it protects you from it, why should I have to take it if you're protected? The truth is, hepatitis and all these diseases are way up. All the major measles, mumps, rubella, and shingles breakouts, it turns out, are from the vaccines. And they know full well, and the average doctor knows full well. After they pressure you at the hospital to give your kid a vaccine, the nurses say, you know, we don't give them either. And we've had nurses on whistleblowing. It's been in the news, where in the preemie ward, it just started again about 6 years ago. 6 years ago, they changed the federal regulations. It's not a law, and said everyone, including pregnant women, need a flu shot, even though they know it massively increases miscarriage via autoimmune response. But what they tell the doctors and what they push on them is you're part of a scientific elite. And we know these vaccines are damaging people, but overall they help greater than they hurt. So it's up to you as a practitioner of this new twisted Hippocratic oath to go out and do it. But here's an example. They tell you it's safe and effective, no side effects to your face. They'll give you an information sheet that says, oh, every once in a while there's a few problems. If you go out and look for the inserts online, they have watered down ones that say very rare. Will you get narcolepsy or cancer? Those aren't the inserts. We have a file in there that shows the real inserts where it says the hundreds of things it can and will do to you. And then everyone knows, family members and others that have gotten sick and gotten hurt from the vaccines. Oh, look, moderate problems, seizures, nonstop crying, high fever, brain damage, serious allergic reactions, long-term seizures, coma, or lowered consciousness. Oh, wonder why they won't have shots. Permanent brain damage. Now, that's not an actual insert. What they found is some whitewash where they put information is based on the DPAPVIS. No, you get it from the insert. Whatever the crew just found. We have a whole file, actually. Rob Du has it. Please get that. I'll just cover it next segment since we got into this. I'll show you the actual insert. Every year, the Dell Children's Hospital, when they give all the kids, there are 5 or 6 more shots, some of them 3 things per shot, triple jabs to go to school. Their pancreases fail, and they tell them, oh, it's genetic. You have type 1 diabetes. No, it's in the inserts that the MMR shot and others cause a autoimmune response in the brain and in the pancreas, and that many times the pancreas then fails. Then they put your kid on drugs. The pancreas sometimes comes back. They put your child on drugs, and the pancreas is wiped out permanently. And they've got extra tents all set up knowing full well what they're doing. Yeah, see, what they did was put out a whitewash article we just showed that said, oh, it's very rare, but they said it's based on this. Then they show the CDC whitewash paper. But what you've got to read is, and that's bad enough, what you've got to read is the actual pharma insert that comes with the injection vial. The actual vial. Yes, here they are. They just ran them into me. These are the little papers that come with it in the vaccines that show you what it actually does. When we come back, I'll show you. These are the ones that show how it can kill you, all the things. And it doesn't say it's rare. No, no, no. This is what it actually says. So see, they have levels of BS, hoping as you dig, you don't actually legally, they're trying to pass a law where they don't have to do this, still tell you this is probably going to really hurt you really bad. Oh, this Gardasil shot might sterilize you. And remember, the doctors will sit there with a straight face because they've got $200,000 of bills to pay from school. They went through internship and went through all this brainwashing. They have got to sit there and tell you safe and effective and lie to you and bully you. But if you ask for the insert and you tell them you want them to sign a form saying they'll pay for liability if your kid gets hurt, they'll go ahead and leave you alone and not even make you take the shot. There is no law. You do not have to take the shot, and this is a way to brain damage your children. It's in government documents.
Hey, Daniel.
So joining us is Robert Spencer of jihadwatch.org that had its PayPal blocked because George Soros, a literal Nazi collaborator who openly wants the overthrow of Israel, I mean, you talk about international criminal, he gets to have his bank accounts, but Jihad Watch, they can't be on PayPal.
Google search for years because they were working on the basis of subject matter and the number of readers. If you search for jihad, you would get Jihad Watch first, my website, because it's a news and commentary site about jihad activity. But recently, they have changed the way they do the Google searches so that nothing unfavorable about Islam comes up. If you search for jihad or Sharia or Islam, you only get favorable results from Google now. In February, the readership to Jihad Watch referrals from Facebook and Twitter dropped 90%. They put in some kind of block so that the referrals just don't go through. So many people write me and say, I click on your links and they just don't work. It's what Facebook, and you know something else, Alex, there's a reason for this. The Facebook vice president, Joel Kaplan, recently traveled to Pakistan, and he promised the Pakistani government that they would remove all material critical of Islam, which means counter-terror analysis that discusses the motives and goals of terrorists.
You know, I forgot that. That's what's so frustrating. There's so much evidence. In fact, Facebook, Twitter, and others have been helping in Pakistan and Iran people that mildly criticize the government. They're ratting them out, giving their location, and some are being executed.
Yes, and that includes people who commit blasphemy according to Islam, which in many cases in Pakistan is just Christians, and some Muslim comes up to them and says, do you think Muhammad is a prophet? And they say no, and they're accused of blasphemy. And this is what Facebook is aiding and abetting. They explicitly promised Chaudhry Nisar Ali Khan, the Interior Minister of Pakistan, that they would remove all anti-Islamic material from Facebook.
The censorship's not coming, it's here. What do we do?
We have to, I think, somehow make it clear to Trump and even to the corrupt Republican establishment that the war on free speech is something they're going to have to pay attention to, that if they don't, then citizens are going to have to act themselves. I'm not talking about some kind of vigilante action. I just mean that we cannot give our votes anymore to politicians who are not on this issue. Google right now and Facebook and the rest of them, they hold more power than any government, and they are censoring more than the Soviet Union ever did. And if this isn't stopped, then Trump is going to lose any fragments of his base he has left, and everyone except those who push the hard left agenda are going to be completely choked off. We have to all act now and make this and act in every possible way we can to turn this around, or you know where it's going to end up. As you say, first they take away the platforms, they take away our voice, and then they're going to come for us.
Days have found us. Strange days have tracked us down. They're going to destroy.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do an entire special report I'm going to shoot this afternoon that I'm going to air on the broadcast tomorrow, because when I get into vaccines and the fraud and the fact that they know that they're involved in social engineering with them, and the fact that doctors know and are told these vaccines will kill certain numbers of children, they will cause brain damage, but the greater good for herd immunity will be served. And so you've got to triage and realize that you're going to have children collapse in your hospitals, in your clinics, and that you've got to have a way to respond to that. And when it is serious enough or they die, you then fill out a form and give it to the federal government, because then there's a secret court that carries out the adjudication of it and the payment of millions of dollars per family to the children. And then vaccine makers have total immunity to be able to hurt and maim as many people as they want. And Bayer, knowingly, for a decade, sent out millions of ampules of Factor VIII blood product that had HIV and hepatitis in it, killing hundreds of thousands of people. But why I got mad earlier is the crew's amazing. They hear me talking about something. This isn't scripted. They just search engine it and, of course, always find what I'm saying. But they found, document cam please, the Walgreens insert online and the CDC fact sheets. You see all these BS sheets? These will tell you, yeah, it can make you die or give you cancer or cause narcolepsy or epilepsy or pancreatitis that then leads to type 1 diabetes. Okay, they admit it all there. But they say, oh, don't really worry, it's rare. No, it isn't. Under law, what you want to read is what comes in the actual injection bottle, where they may give 20 vaccines out of one bottle. They don't want to give you these. I've grown up around medical management. My dad's managed hospitals, clinics, you name it. I grew up around this stuff. It's how I know. This is thrown in the trash. These come. It's Bible page thick material. And baby, I've got like 15 of them here. I've got them all. Let's just randomly pick one right here that I see highlighted. This is a measles, mumps, rubella vaccine put out by Merck & Co. Here, let's just start reading. Line 1. It may cause vasculitis, digestive system, pancreatitis, that's shut down the pancreas, diarrhea, vomiting, pertussis, nausea, endocrine system shut down, diabetes shut down, hematic, lymphatics. I mean, the doctors all went to medical school. Listen, my dad was told all this. That's why they always held back. I didn't want to give more vaccines. I worked for a large animal vet off and on for 3 years. He'd call people in and say, listen, don't give your dog a rabies shot every year. It's very toxic. They don't need these other shots. They only need it once every 7-8 years. Because he knew the animals, he was a large animal vet, but he also did small animals, were getting sick from the vaccines. And right around the time that I went to college and didn't work for a vet anymore, they changed the state regulations where they didn't say vaccinate dogs every year. But they had it where your dog or cat comes in, and to get care, they go, oh, it's time for Kitty's shot. Then you wonder why, oh, what's wrong with Kitty? Oh, he's got kitty AIDS. His autoimmunity's gone. We don't know. Lots of kitties are dying. Most of the doggies are dying. They got allergies. Their hair's falling out because it's what's in the vaccines. The government's been caught putting syphilis in vaccines. Why would you trust anything they do? And the doctors and the government know it's killing you. They admit it in the inserts. It's a fact.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
You deserve a deep, restful sleep with Knockout by Infowars Life. Our organic formula is made from high-quality natural ingredients such as valerian root extract, L-tryptophan, lemon balm leaf extract, and melatonin. Knockout packs a powerful punch to get you through the night and achieve proper sleep. Millions of people around the world experience daytime drowsiness, but with the rapid speed of life, we need to be able to keep up the pace. Our natural mixture harnesses the power of 10 known ingredients to let your body relax and get the sleep you need. Wake up refreshed and take on the day. Infowars Life wants to bring you a sleep support formula that goes above and beyond other leading brands at an affordable price. Get the sleep you deserve and experience the power of Knockout. Head on over to InfoWarsLife.com and say goodbye to fatigue. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones. Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Okay, coming up, we've got huge news on the economy. We've got news that pot smokers should know. Beware, killer pesticides and poison are in many of the crops. So whether you love marijuana or hate it, you need to hear this information from John Rappaport and Infowars.com. We've got Russia fires Yars ICBM at test range 6,000 kilometers away successfully. That's a mobile missile. We have just got so much on the Anwan brothers breaking. We've got more articles just out today. I didn't even see this one. Washington Post. They find a link between flu vaccine and miscarriage. Well, doctors always, the inserts always said don't take it. If you're pregnant, it causes an autoimmune response and miscarriage. It's so sick. But they commit crimes too big to fail. They commit crimes that are so insanely big that no one gets in trouble. And it's not being done by accident. If you just joined us, Hillary admits to loving to practice voodoo. Her top Democrat friends, give me the Wikipedia on these guys. Former head of the Washington Post, his wife, said that they engage in satanic rituals, including killing people. That's the headline. Gatekeeper of D.C. society, Sally Quinn, comes out as a cultist, uses hex to kill people. That's Breitbart. That's not Alex Jones. Seattle Mayor Ed Murray resigns after 5th child sex abuse report. He just looks like John Wayne Gacy. I mean, it literally is John Wayne Gacy. I don't know why they always look. Dennis Hastert, John Wayne Gacy. Toll-free number to join us. I didn't say first-time callers at first, but I want to get some first-time callers in. So when you hear these callers hang up, I'm going to give first-time callers a chance at 800-259-9231. What do we do about it? What do? We realize the people that want to sexualize our kids, the people that want sex education for 5-year-olds that includes teaching them how to be transgender or whatever, that is 100% using an issue of tolerance to get parents to accept strangers sexualizing your children. It is pedophile prepping and sexualization of children, period. So you don't put up with it, period. And you break with Hollywood and you break with it all. Hollywood seeing record low box offices. The whole liberal system's falling apart. Nancy Pelosi can hardly talk. She's so senile. I saw a report on Drudge this morning about her unable to say words. And I thought, oh, that must be yesterday's news. She did it again. Every day. She's making up new words and babbling and acting like an insane harpy. So that's coming up in the next segment. Then I'm going to your phone calls. Infowars.com, newswars.com. Nick, Jason, David, Woody, Justin, 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. But I'm going to wait to go to your calls so we come back, and I'm going to, as judiciously as I can, get to the latest. Awan secret server compromises national security. That whole thing's unraveling now beautifully. Nancy Pelosi repeatedly flubs the name of Hamilton playwright. And then that was yesterday. The day before, she said that Nancy Pelosi orders LGBT group to clap for Obama, says stop bullying, not bullying, but bullying the youth. And, of course, it's like 15 times I know of that she said or more. Well, George W. Bush, you know, is funded by the Russians, and he's a horrible person, and we need to look at impeaching him. They're like grabbing her dress going, ma'am, it's President Trump. I mean Trump. This is their leadership. And then you've got her, one of her best buddies, this doddering Democrat loon over here, Sally Quinn, Hillary Clinton's best buddy. Like, I've seen video of Sally Quinn and Nancy Pelosi together. Can we get this black magic witch in photographs and videos with old Pelosi? Remember Pelosi said she never met with the Russian ambassador when Senator Sessions had met with him 3 times in a year. She'd met with him 30-plus times. There was photos and video. Let's get photos of her with the black magic witch.
You probably got more media than I did in the last cycle, Michael.
I don't think so, but I know I got a lot of negative media because, you know, they're on the absolute attack because they're what you call slave beating. That's to keep all the other slaves in line. And they want black people and white people to remain as slaves so that we can't compete with them. So, you know, they charge us high taxes. Most of them are not paying taxes, and they just get over. So that's why I'm standing behind President Donald J. Trump.
The silent majority is no longer silent. This is the War Room with Owen Schroyer at Infowars.com/show.
Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support infusion blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
New from Emmerich's Essentials, fragrance-free natural deodorant for your body care needs. Playing basketball in the dry summer heat really makes me sweat. To maintain my game, I need all the confidence I can get. That's why I use Emmerich's Essentials natural deodorant. Made with organic ingredients, this deodorant combines mineral crystals with natural botanicals to ionize odor, keeping me fresh throughout the day. While shooting hoops, the last thing I want is sweaty armpits making my hands slippery and the ball wet. That's why I recommend Emmerich's Essentials fragrance-free deodorant. Even though it's unscented, it's effective at combating strong body odor, and I don't have to worry about any unwanted allergic reactions to my sensitive skin. Whether you're a guy or gal, the last thing you want to be worried about is your deodorant. No petroleum-based ingredients, 100% natural and cruelty-free. Stay in the game with Emmerich's Essentials fragrance-free natural deodorant. Available at InfoWarsStore.com.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. It's Alex Jones.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz is about to know the true meaning of consequences.
With the permission of, through the investigation, and we'll return the equipment. But until that's accomplished, I can't return the equipment.
I think you're violating the rules when you conduct your business that way, and should expect that there would be consequences.
Schultz's former IT staffer, Imran Awan, and Awan's wife, Hina, may have already been offered an immunity deal from federal prosecutors that will allow the Awans to go into detail regarding exactly what Wasserman Schultz is desperately hiding.
The fact that this wife is coming back from Pakistan and is willing to face charges, as it were, I think there's a good chance that she's going to receive some type of immunity to tell a larger story here that's going to be pretty disturbing to the American people. And it's always ironic to me that when you see these kinds of things happen, where you have someone that has nefarious or certainly not the best interests of America within the IT system of the United States Congress, and they're being paid by a member of Congress, it's really pretty frightening. I mean, it's
the former head of the Democratic National Committee, we might point out, who was forced out in disgrace.
Yeah.
Enough though, the plot gets even stranger from there. A new report by Luke Rosiak of the Daily Caller News Foundation reveals that Awan actually had a second account with access to the House network. That account was still active as of yesterday, potentially providing Awan secret access to the House network, the very same network, as we just said, he was banned from as a security risk. The secondary email is linked to another House staffer who specializes in intel issues and works for House Intelligence Committee member Andre Carson. Whoa.
Luke Rosiak of the Daily Caller reported now indicted former congressional IT aide Imran Awan allegedly routed data from numerous House Democrats to a secret server. Awan had access to all emails and office computer files of 45 members of Congress. The fear among members that Awan could release embarrassing information if they cooperated with prosecutors could explain why the Democrats have refused to acknowledge the cybersecurity breach publicly or criticize the suspects. Data was also backed up to Dropbox in huge quantities. Congressional congressional offices are prohibited from using Dropbox, so an unofficial account was used, meaning Awan could have still had access to the data even though he was banned from the congressional network. The Awans and Imran's brothers, Abid and Jamal, collectively earned at least $4 million as IT staff for the Democrats from 2009 to 2017, each earning $160,000 a year for what many had deemed as no-show work. The Awans would return to Pakistan for months at a time and continue to be paid. Capitol Police revoked the Awans' access to the congressional IT system due to a major breach of data, including the files and emails of dozens of congressmen, many serving on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and the House Committee on Foreign Affairs. Access requiring security clearances that were likely forged. Wasserman Schultz and other Democrats have accused the Capitol Police of being motivated by Islamophobia, but the Awans are rightfully being investigated over charges of tax fraud, bankruptcy fraud, insurance fraud, and extortion. In fact, the Awans dug a hole so deep with fraud, they will have to spill everything regarding former DNC Chair Schultz and the other Democrats involved in the criminal fleecing and breach of national security of American taxpayers. John Bound reporting for Infowars.com.
Now, I'm going to your phone calls live here in the second hour in just a few minutes. But I want to get to a few of the latest clips of Nancy Pelosi where she's completely out of her mind. Pelosi spoke for less than 6 minutes from prepared text, but couldn't get through her remarks without repeatedly slurring and flubbing the name of liberal playwright being honored by the U.S. Capitol Historical Society. Lin-Manuel Miranda, the author of the hit Broadway musical Hamilton, was at the Capitol on Tuesday to receive the Freedom Award. She repeatedly had trouble saying his name, calling him Lin-Manuel Madonna, Ramonda. Other times she seemed to have trouble speaking all together. And look, that happens to everybody every once in a while. But she's doing it every time she speaks. There's another clip from yesterday where Nancy Pelosi orders LGBT group to clap for Obama, says stop bulleting of youth. It's bullying, lady. And in at least 15 cases, because we've got a video that's got them all together in the last year, she's called candidate Trump and now President Trump, President George Bush, and W. And they start pulling her arm, and she still keeps saying it. And then the only person more crazy is Maxine Waters. Again, she says stuff like, well, Aleppo in North Korea and the Putin with Trump in Korea, they attacked Korea, the Putin, and then the only person crazier, I guess, than that is Congressman Hank Johnson, who literally thinks that Guam is a floating island. He doesn't know that islands are mountains sticking up above the ocean or the lake or the river. So this is who the globalists have put in charge. Believe me, the people running things above them that have the bills written, they know full well what they're doing. But the constituency of the Democrats is mirrored by their leadership. Now, what's scarier than that is the psychopaths like Paul Ryan, who's real slick and real smart, and who I guarantee you, he likes American Psycho, let me tell you. He'd like to mount your head on the wall. He's got the look. I'm not saying he physically carries that out, but he's got the slick together. You need to trust me. And his actions show he's a liar and a globalist. But he's competent and evil. And they're propping up the Democrats right now against America and the populist movement and Trump's attempt to cut taxes and turn the economy around. But just the belief it's coming has White House fueling optimism among manufacturers, record new jobs, AP reports. Here's another one, Washington Post. U.S. middle class incomes reached highest level in 2016 as we get the numbers a few months later. Let's go ahead now, ladies and gentlemen. And let's play the latest clip of Pelosi last night. Here it is.
Okay, so here we are. Lin-Manuel Miranda. Lin-Manuel Miranda is the great creative talent. Lin-Manuel Miranda took the story of our founding and imbued it with a fresh life and infectious spirit. Lin-Manuel is continuing Lin-Manuel, I am truly, truly convinced we celebrate Lin-Manuel Miranda, a man gifted by the muse of history. Thank you, Lin-Manuel. Thank you, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
He's even laughing at herself. Woo, you're nuts. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. That is dementia. And I'm almost crying because my grandmother, until about 92, was still always there. But then she lost a bunch of weight, looked like a concentration camp victim, barely beat a stomach infection she had, and got down to where she looked like people you've seen in the concentration camp movies. I mean, the actual footage. I mean, she was almost that skinny. It was crazy. And she kind of bounced back, gained a few pounds, and then died quietly in the night. Her heart just stopped working. She went home to Jesus, thank God. I'm not glad she died, but thank God she went home to Jesus and out of the pain. But she would, when I go over there to feed her, because we put her in a little medical care place that was about 400 yards from my office so that I could go over there every day. She's only in there a few months till she died. But we put some weight back on her, but I have to physically feed her to make her eat. She'd given up pretty much. Because she had cancer, breast cancer, for 7 years and didn't want it operated on because her other breasts had been removed. So she had cancer all over her body, too. She was tough as hell. But she would do that thing where I'd be talking to her and she'd be there, and all of a sudden she'd just disappear, get blurred eyes, and start going, ha, 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 you know, laughing, just like Pelosi did. So as much as I dislike Pelosi, the footage we just showed of your radio listeners on Infowars.com, it's on newswars.com, it's up on drudgereport.com as well. It's very, very painful. But it shows how the elite are so arrogant that they have a woman with clear dementia, and it comes and goes. That almost crying laugh, that is exactly what my grandmother looked like. And I've had other family members that, you know, you go visit that are very senile. Let's play it one more time. But again, they say she's the leadership they need. This is who they have in there. Let's roll it again.
Okay, so here we are. Lin-Manuel Miranda. Lin-Manuel Miranda is the great creative talent. Lin-Manuel Miranda took the story of our founding and imbued it with a fresh life and infectious spirit. Lin-Manuel is continuing. Lin-Manuel, I am truly, truly convinced we celebrate Lin-Manuel Miranda, a man gifted by the muse of history. Thank you, Lin-Manuel. Thank you, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Thank you.
Now, here's the sad part at the end. Just look at that. I mean, that is... Can we back that up and just slow it down, slow the audio down too, maybe 5 times? Anybody that's seen a family member who's got a brain tumor or is completely senile with Alzheimer's, you've seen that, and it's very painful. In fact, my grandmother's husband, my grandfather, was only senile about the last 6 months. He had multiple strokes. And he would do that exact same thing and beg me not to leave the nursing home. And he would just cry and grab my hand. And I'd go spend 2 hours there. But it was just soul-draining to be around it. But imagine, that is the Democratic leader of the House of Representatives making a full-on dementia Alzheimer's face. Let's play the audio. Here it is. Good God. She's so scared. She knows she's losing her mind. Oh, this is sad, actually. Wow, she is so freaked out and so scared. Oh. By the way, I'm not feigning being sad. I'm actually really sad right now. Oh, my gosh. Oh, this is haunting. This is like a horror movie. Just look at it. She's sick of the crowd. She's sick of the power. She's at the end of the line. You know, I had a lot of family here in Texas back when LBJ was president. And I've still got even more friends who were alive then. And I've got some friends that are related very closely to the LBJs. And they had a business that the president would come into because he was a big horseman. And they sold saddles and cowboy boots. It's a famous facility. It's moved from downtown to North Austin. And the point is that he came in about a month before he died. And they said to the president, his cousin said to the president, he said, who was another big old, mean, tough, smart guy, said, is it true you're sad for the war and you're hanging around all these hippies and smoking dope and doing all this stuff and that you're sad for what you did and everything? And he goes, LBJ had grown his hair out. He'd had heart attacks. He was free. He goes, absolutely right. I just want my soul back. I'm so scared. I wanted power. I wanted to be the boss. I ended up running the country, being the president. All the elites worked for me, everything. I've heard the story from the people that actually heard it, because other folks were there, and then people that heard it secondhand. I've heard the story twice. And he said, I'm scared now. And I don't know how long I'm going to be alive. And about a month later, he died of a heart attack in the air, being flown from his ranch outside Austin to San Antonio Medical Center, Fort Sam Houston. And so many of these people gain the whole world but lose their soul. In fact, I'm not going to tell any more stories about LBJ. I'm going to stop right there because I've got family stories too. I mean, he had a whole squad of hitmen even when he was in the Congress. He just went around killing people. Everybody was scared of him. But he didn't lose his mind before he died. His heart had gone out, and he was scared of all the stuff he'd done. He was real sad about all the GIs that had gotten killed. He wasn't doing it for PR purposes. And you look at somebody like Nancy Pelosi in that ghostly footage. The headline isn't that she bumbled over the name 4 times. Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's what she's trying to say, Lin-Manuel Miranda. You watch the whole speech. I watched a larger clip of it this morning. And she is just whacked out of her brain. And that's how dementia works. It's in, it's out. It's like waves. It's in, it's out. You're sitting there talking to your grandmother. One day she's fine. Next day, she's talking to her dead brother in the room and doesn't even see you. Same thing with Pelosi. And again, the recklessness of them with McCain stumbling around with a terminal brain tumor. He can hardly talk. She can hardly talk. Look at the wages of death. Let's play the clip one more time.
Okay, so here we are. Lin-Manuel Miranda. Lin-Manuel Miranda is the great creative talent. Lin-Manuel Miranda took the story of our founding and imbued it with a fresh life and infectious spirit. Lin-Manuel is continuing. Lin-Manuel, I am truly convinced we celebrate Lin-Manuel Miranda, a man gifted by the muse of history. Thank you, Lin-Manuel. Thank you, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Thank you.
And now the total tweet. Now, let's go to yesterday. Columbia green light speech. We've got Mike Service coming up there. They're trying to ban him from that speech, show all the great free speech going on in this country. Here's Nancy Pelosi orders LGBT group to clap for Obama, says stop the bulleting of youth. There it is.
Our city is blessed with a large LGBTQ community and a strong history of legacy of advocacy for equal rights. And we were very proud of the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and President Obama was so very much a part of that. Now, let's hear it for President Obama. That's an applause line. I'll tell you when it's an applause line if we're not kind of in sync. And now we're fighting for something called the Equality Act, a historic comprehensive bill, and I will continue to do everything in our power to end discrimination in the workplace and in every other aspect of life that ensures that all American families are viewed equally in the eyes of the law. That's an applause line.
Keep telling folks to applause.
And stop the bullying of the LGBT community youth in our schools and in our society. That's right. Stop the bullying of our kids. Innovation must be about inclusion. That's what Sam's about. Sam Altman, all right, pause line.
That's enough. By the way, inclusion, really? Your bullying law you want to pass says if anyone's feelings are hurt, that person's arrested or banned, but then only the protected groups have this new royalty to run around having everybody get in trouble. And this is a report here we've got where Mike Cernovich, they're trying to ban him from speaking at a major university. He's going to join us coming up, saying, quote, we don't let hate mongers and white supremacists speak. Well, A, he's not a hate monger or white supremacist, but B, you're reading the quotes by the people. What they mean is we don't let free speech happen. We want to ban free speech. We're in control of free speech. So that's all coming up. Right now, though, I covered mainstream news earlier. Hillary Clinton, I wanted to make voodoo dolls of reporters, lawmakers, stick them with pins, and one of her good friends, her and Nancy Pelosi's good friends, they go to their parties and her husband's funeral. Here it is right here in the Washington Post, celebrating Ben Bradley's life and times. There's Nancy Pelosi right there in the story, celebrating the life and times at the wake for her husband. And her husband reportedly killed people. Here's the headline. Gatekeeper of D.C. society, Sally Quinn, comes out as an occultist, says she used hexes with her husband to kill people. If she didn't like the astrology thing that, you gave her, the reading, she says she'd have you killed. Whatever that means. And that's Hillary and Pelosi's big buddy. But meanwhile, Seattle Mayor Ed Murray resigns after 5th child sex abuse allegation. Boy, my surprise. We got the audio of Hillary talking about voodoo coming up. But right now, who's been holding the longest? Is it Nick? Is it Jason? Is it Steve? Is it Woody? Is it Justin? I believe it's Nick in North Carolina. Nick, you're on the air.
Yeah, can you hear me, brother?
I can, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks, man. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the LGBT and political correctness. I've been in active duty Army for almost going on 18 years, and I want to say within like the past 6 years or so, give or take, plus or minus one, but in the military alone, political correctness has taken a complete right turn where it almost went from night to day. It almost seemed as if all of a sudden you couldn't say certain things, or you couldn't write certain things. I'm not saying racist or sexual things, but just because I'm in an infantry unit. I've been an infantryman my whole career, and it blew me away as far as how higher ups, at least within the military, were so scared of a backlash just because someone made an innocent offhand comment. But I notice if you're not in like a big business, big corporation, or the military, you can't do certain things.
Well, that's because it's a larger agenda. Once they get you to accept that, then you'll accept anything, including sexualization of children. It's social engineering, and the whole thing is hidden by the national security state, which is the definition of the occult, which means hidden. Nick, did you want to comment on the occult and top Democrats admitting they're into black magic? Do you want to comment on that?
Yes, I know.
All right, we're going to come back. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
How did he get in here? He's supposed to be with a few people outside. How about all week they're talking about the massive crowds that are going to be outside. Well, it's hot out. It is hot. I think it's too warm. You know, they show up in the helmets and the black masks, and they've got clubs and they've got everything. Antifa!
And we're not getting what humans always thought was key, the bone broth. 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 Well, now it's the next level of that. It's caveman. But hey, I need a glass of caveman. Caveman. Man, it's better than Ovaltine. Better than Ovaltine. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Caveman is just over the top. What in the world? But now with the milk, I was like, whoa, this has milk in it. Whoa. It tastes like good. Man, this tastes so good. Tastes like the best milkshake ever. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. It tastes like Ovaltine. Like good. Whoa.
I can say without a doubt, at least in my experience,
this is a super home run available at InfoWarsLife.com, and it supports the broadcast. All right, all the big news straight ahead.
Hey, did you know that you can now preserve your own food for up to 25 years and still maintain its nutrition and flavor? That's right. Now's the time to build your own food storage with Harvest Right's freeze dryers. Go to InfoWarsStore.com to learn more and check out this innovative and smart technology that's easy to use. And let me tell you something, it is perfect for freeze drying fruits, vegetables, meats, dairy products, desserts, and entire meals. Woo, that's what I'm talking about. And when compared to traditional methods of preservation, like canning or dehydrating, you know, like what you get at the grocery store, there is no comparison. Harvest Right freeze dryers retain 97% of the food's taste, color, and nutritional value and have a shelf life of up to 25 years. Now that's what I call the miracle of food preservation. Harvest Right is truly the world's best, most affordable freeze dryer. So what are you waiting for? Check it out right now at InfoWarsStore.com.
We are on the march. The empire is on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
So from California to Maryland, major towns and cities are voting to let illegal aliens vote without IDs. So citizens don't need IDs. The illegals don't either. Just they can vote over and over again. But conservatives won't engage in fraud, so they're going to be in trouble. College Park to allow non-citizens the right to vote in local elections, including undocumented immigrants. That means illegal aliens to vote in municipal elections. This is globalism. But you can't go to their countries and vote. They'd laugh at you. Now, we have massive reverse censorship going on, is really what I call it. It's just another form of censorship. Yahoo News, Amazon deletes one-star reviews of Hillary Clinton's book that's already at 50% off. Despite being promoted by every establishment media outlet, it's now dropped out of even the top 10 on Amazon, even though they're buying it themselves to try to prop it up. No one wants to read it, which is too bad because a lot of the books about yours truly and how she loves voodoo and the rest of it. And that ties in with this report. We welcome all speakers. Columbia greenlight speech by controversial Mike Cernovich. They go on in the CBS News report to call him a white nationalist, which he actually fights with those groups, but he believes they have free speech. I think they should do away with giving people with hate speech a platform. You mean do away with the First Amendment. That's what Trayon Fulton added. So he's going to be speaking there, but I just love how we're going to let the Nazis speak. But then that's not, as everybody knows, Mike Cernovich, who he is. It just shows the next level of deception, and then that's going to tie in. He's just with us briefly, and then we're going to go to Jason and Stephen and Woody and Jason and Nick and everybody else that's patiently holding. We'll finish up with Nick getting into the occult. Turns out the former president and CEO and vice president before his death of the Washington Post that helped bring us globalism and sell out America, he and his wife, there's a new memoir out by her where she says they killed people they disagreed with. She killed them, and that she believes she did it with black magic. And then I've got the articles with Nancy Pelosi being her best buddy, basically, and being at their wake for her husband. and so much more. Sally Quinn throws Ben Bradley, one of his last A-list parties. Gatekeeper of D.C. society, Sally Quinn comes out as an occultist, used hex to kill people. And Hillary Clinton's in her new book saying she thought about turning to voodoo. Meanwhile, Seattle Mayor Ed Bradley resigns after 5th child sex allegation. I saw his photo. I thought it was John Wayne Gacy. So just more of this every day. So, Cernovich, I want to get into how they're galloping forward with not just trying to censor us online and ban you online or Real Alex Jones online or Ed Cernovich online, trying to restrict us, blocking us, admitting they're doing it. But now, oh, let's stop you from speaking at a university. And it's almost like too much that Columbia would even, wow, they're radical. Other universities have just banned conservatives from speaking. So I guess they're going to have to send some violent groups out to teach everyone a lesson. How dare you? Well, let's get this controversial speech right now. What would you say at Columbia, you wicked, wicked devil?
Yeah, it's very amusing, as always, how upset these people get over essentially nothing. I'm going to give a talk. My talk, they didn't want to ask me what my talk is about, which I find fascinating. They're all mad about a talk without asking me what my talk is going to be. That just shows you they're not fact-based, they're not reality-based. I'm actually going to give a talk on new media and journalism because Columbia University has a journalism school, and I'm going to say, look, here's how a regular average Joe, Mike Cernovich, was able to become a highly influential national security reporter. Here's how to use new media. Here's how you use Twitter, Periscope. Here's what a meme is. Here's
so even if they're your enemy, you're going to give them tricks of the trade, but they don't even want that because they want the power to shut you up. They want authoritarianism. They don't want a degree in journalism, Cernovich. They want a degree in Jack Buddhism.
Exactly. I'm here for everybody. I view it like this. Hey, if a liberal comes to my event and they're able to do what I do better than people on my side, hey, that's life, man. May the best man or the best woman win. The Darwinian competition is.
And by the way, we don't sit there and claim we're in Amish outfits or something. We consider ourselves to be populist. I mean, the average so-called liberal gets around us behind the scenes and goes, "Man, you're super cool." It's liberals that aren't cool. We're not trying to make you live away. You're trying to make us live away.
Exactly. And I tell them, hey, you want to break news, you want to do journalism, why would you not want to hear from one of, I mean, how many people know more about social media than I do? You know, maybe 4 or 5 people in the country. So why not, rather than read Hillary Clinton's book where she cries about internet stuff that she doesn't know anything about, why don't you say, wow, here's one of the people who led an online movement against Clinton. Why don't we go ask him, well, you know, how do you get hashtags trending? How do you think up a hashtag? How do you think what's going to be hot for the day? How do you get views? How do I, as a Columbia journalism student, develop a worldwide brand and reputation like you have? And that's what I'm there for, to talk to everybody about how to do real journalism.
In fact, they should be clamoring if they wanted to even defeat you to know what you know. That's how just devoid of common sense they are.
Yeah, I read their books. I read Noam Chomsky, Saul Alinsky. I've read the postmodern thinkers, Erich Fromm, Marcuse. I've read all the postmodern thinking, the cultural Marxists, the Frankfurt School. I've read Hillary Clinton's book. When it came out, I had pre-ordered it, and I stayed up late at night. The minute it hit my Kindle at 12:34 a.m. my time, after midnight, I stayed up and I read the book.
And within 1 hour, you sent me the screenshots of what she said.
Exactly. I was up reading it because if a president, as a journalist, my job is to understand what somebody who almost became president of the United States is thinking, doing, how she's living, even though it's a lie. So, yeah, I screen capped you, actually. I was up. That's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, for those of you listening in, I was up reading the book. And then I found some stuff about Alex in the book, so I screen capped it and texted Alex. And the very next morning, he's up on it. And that's what I'm going to teach these Columbia kids. If you're doing real journalism in 2017, in the current year, you're always on. You're texting people, you're breaking stories, you're connecting with people. If Hillary Clinton's book comes out at midnight, then I'm going to stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm going to read it. If they mention Alex Jones, I'm going to send it to him. He's going to find it when he wakes up, and he's going to talk about it. That's real journalism, and that is how we work every day.
But we can't let this Nazi evil. In fact, we have the CBS News piece about Cernovich. let's play that short little piece, and I'm going to play a clip from Hillary here. Here they are, discussing the fact that Columbia green light speech by controversial white nationalist. That's their headline. Talk about defamation. Here it is.
Columbia University, considered one of the most diverse colleges in the country, will soon be the stage for controversial speaker, white nationalist Michael Cernovich. Cernovich has been quoted as saying diversity is code word for white genocide.
If Columbia is a diverse university, they should welcome people who might not agree with them.
The Columbia University College Republicans group invited Cernovich and the far-right founder of the English Defense League, Tommy Robinson, to speak on campus. But many students say that's a bad idea.
I think it's incredibly insensitive to minority students and just anyone who could potentially be victimized by the speaker that they've invited, because he is a white supremacist.
What should the university do?
I think they should do away with giving people with hate speech a platform.
While no date has been set for the speakers this fall, Columbia University has given the appearances a green light, saying, quote, "We welcome all speakers invited by our student groups as long as we can ensure that the event will be orderly and safe."
We reached out to the college Republicans to ask them how and why they chose these speakers, but they declined our request for an on-camera interview and a written statement.
The College Democrats group believes it's a stunt.
There are important and valuable intellectual conservative leaders that they could have brought to campus, but instead they've chosen to bring provocateurs. I mean, the whole point of this charade is to have attention.
Many say the speakers should be allowed on campus.
They do have a right to speak and be heard, but we also have a right to protest.
People on both sides hope any protests don't get out of hand. In Morningside Heights, Hazel Sanchez, CBS 2 News.
So, just obvious lie. They don't show where he's a white supremacist or whoever says it because they don't have it. And it is true that major universities are saying, we want white genocide. Whites are evil. Get rid of whites. That's the leftist crazy garbage they're preaching. We do expose that because we expose racism and people pushing genocide, just like we protest the white supremacist. So again, the only tenuous connection they have with some quote out of context is that, Mike, when they know full well that the actual white nationalist movement that you've been pointing out took over the alt-right absolutely hates you. So they do the same thing to me with Tom Brokaw saying I'm an unalloyed racist with showing no proof. The real threat are these groups trying to ban free speech.
Exactly. And when she goes, well, what did you mean by that quote? They didn't include my response, and my response was that these people on college campuses have said they want to kill white people. There are hashtags kill all white men. Right now, the #1 trending video on YouTube, which YouTube has allowed to trend and the ADL allows to trend, involves a child being lynched, a child being lynched. And YouTube and the ADL, which has banned many of your videos, so they are actively making editorial choices about what should be allowed on YouTube. They have made that the #1 trending video on YouTube. So, of course, they do want to kill people. They're glorifying murder pornography involving children. I would love to hear them defend that at YouTube, why we should be showing images of a child being lynched. And
by the way, I got up at 6 a.m. this morning and saw Paul's story, front page of Infowars.com, front page of NewsWars. I watched the video, and it was so shocking that I somehow repressed it, didn't even come in and tell the crew I wanted to cover it. Thank you for bringing that up. Guys, please print me the article. Describe for folks, again, the article and videos on Infowars.com. This is a Black Lives Matter inspired video where they're going to kill a white child to show them what it's like, to make the child think they're guilty, I guess, and commit suicide.
Right. The video is so shocking that when I saw the clip initially, I thought, oh, God, I'm being hoaxed. Because a lot of people send us fake stuff so then they can go to BuzzFeed and go, ha, 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 we got them good this time. I go, there's no way this is real. So I did my research again at midnight, because that's what you have to do if you're in real news. You have to work all the time. And I found the video. And those of you listening, I don't know if they'll want to play the video because it really is appalling. There's a rapper who, by the way, was accused of beating up his pregnant girlfriend. He gave her multiple black eyes. So this is the kind of person that YouTube glorifies as a real domestic abuser, but they'll call all of us misogynists. Meanwhile, if you beat up your pregnant girlfriend, YouTube will make you the #1 trending video. So as you watch the video, it shows a white child and a black child separated. And the performing artist, as you were, the Black Lives Matter activist, takes a noose and he wraps the noose around the white child's head. The Black Lives Matter activist then moves over to the right, and you can see him pulling on the rope. And as he's lifting the rope, you can see two young child's legs dangling in the air as he's being suffocated and murdered. And I'm not exaggerating. Anybody can watch the video for yourselves. That is exactly what happens. The image of the child's legs dangling in the air would traumatize pretty much any parent. That's why you have to be very careful if you do watch it. But again, just as a matter of journalism, you know, I had to watch it, and it was quite appalling. And I don't see how any parent would want. And then
I was watching this morning. They don't even make a point of why they're doing it. And there's this thing where they say, feminist magazines, abort your white baby. Whites are inherently bad. Michael Moore, we'll be better off when there's no white people. They're the ones pushing the racial clash, the leftist whites leading it. And then meanwhile, you've got major Democrat leaders in the news saying, I'm in black magic, I killed people. Leaders of the Democratic Party. What is going on with these people?
Well, Seattle's mayor recently had to drop out of the race or resign because he was accused of 5 sexual molestation events, including his younger cousin. And I saw something very telling. Maybe the crew can find it on my Twitter page, where Chris Colozo of CNN goes, Ted Cruz liked a Twitter pornography image, and one of his staffers did it, and he compared that to the Seattle mayor who committed potentially pedophilia and sexual abuse of a minor. And that's how CNN treats it. Oh, somebody on your staff accidentally likes an image involving consenting adults, by the way. Well, hey, it's just another sex scandal, just like this mayor in Seattle who's accused of molesting people and committing all kinds of heinous crimes. So that's where the media is right now. In their mind, pedophilia is just another form of adult pornography. So for them, they don't see, if you're at CNN, you don't see a difference between watching adults engaging in sexual activities consensually and somebody like the Seattle mayor who's accused of molesting people, because to them, it's just all sex, whether it involves a minor or not.
And they want control of our children. They want to sexualize our children. That's the end goal, to take full control of the species. And if we'll accept pedophiles sexualizing our children, if we'll accept all this, we'll accept anything, Mike.
Yeah, well, that's the goal, is the end game of postmodernism and deconstructing society and Western morality is first you destroy the family, then you create broken homes. Broken homes, you now have higher levels of criminality among men. But tell people there are no differences between men and women, because then they won't figure out what's really going on. So what happens is, because men and women are different in various ways, is that if you break up the nuclear family in the home, the boys become criminals and the women become sexual slaves. They engage in different patterns, so they're groomed. We saw this, of course, in the UK. We see this all the time with Rotherham, the rape gang. So the postmodernists, they deconstruct the American family, which allows them to create the opiate epidemic, the heroin epidemic. Men, commit all these crimes, and then that leads women who are now vulnerable to grooming gangs and pedophilia gangs, and that's the media's end game. That's what
and now it's all over the news that Muslims are allowed to rape women, and that Muslims get better welfare or better housing. And then do you see the police chief in Finland saying, no, we want terrorists. They can teach us. We want to put full-grown terrorists in high schools, because they put 30-year-old men in high schools in like some weird experiment to brutalize the young people. I mean, this is just fantastical acts of total domination, Mike.
Yeah, and Sweden has actually said they're not even going to investigate rape anymore, because there's so much rape in parts of Sweden that there's nothing you can do about it. So just like if you live in San Francisco, you know what the police will tell you? Leave your car door unlocked and don't leave any valuables in it, because the thieves are going to break into your car anyway. They're going to break your window, and it isn't like the police are actually going to do their jobs. Well, in Sweden, they're now saying, hey, like if you have a kid, just let your kid get raped. Hopefully they don't fight too much, because then, they might actually get really hurt, and we're not going to investigate it either because, hey, we got other priorities, and that's Sweden.
All right, stay there, my friend. I'm going to come back to one more segment with you. And callers, I'm going to get to you next hour, I promise. I got Cernovich on because this was breaking with them trying to ban his free speech. But the third hour is coming up. Nothing but calls. Nick, Stephen, Woody, Justin, Jason. I'm coming to all of you. Stay with us.
Katie Armour is...
Paul Watson, thank you for joining us here today. I appreciate you coming on. You're about to go on a well-deserved holiday. So tell folks about your video that's gone viral where you say you're done.
I'm done with YouTube until they change their policies or until they signal that they're going to change them, Alex. I mean, Congressman Dana Rohrabacher came out with a quote last night. The mistreatment of conservatives and libertarians by tech monopolies is a civil rights issue. And that's what it comes down to. It's Google and Facebook. Those are the big two. Okay, I was banned by Facebook yesterday, get this, Alex, for posting a picture of a famous ginger YouTuber who made a parody joke video about feminism 18 months ago, who was in on the joke. And because I posted a picture of it, again, 18 months ago, which obviously offended some feminists, they banned me on Facebook. So literally Facebook is now being run by the same people who screamed bloody murder.
And let's explain something. You're a public figure attacked in newspapers and TV every day. So am I. If we don't have speech, no one is. They want to destroy us with straw men, not let us respond. And let's explain. You had Facebook videos, Paul, with 30 million views, some of them each. I mean, bigger than CNN. That's why they took you down. That's why they're trying to ban PewDiePie, because they don't want anybody they don't control with a voice.
Google and Facebook are basically monopolies at this point. They're acting like public utilities. You'll notice, Alex, that back in the day, Zuckerberg, Schmidt, Jack Dorsey of Twitter, they used to talk about themselves as public utilities. In fact, there's a quote here, which I've got from Time, where Zuckerberg is talking about Facebook as a public utility. So they acted like that. They consolidated. Now they've become monopolies. They need to be treated as public utilities. This is what Steve Bannon came out and advocated 2 weeks ago. Okay, if I want running water in my house, Alex, I can only pay one company. Now, it's still a private company, but it's a monopoly. I don't have a choice. Now, at this point, Google and YouTube are complete monopolies. YouTube does not have a competitor, a serious competitor as a video platform. This is why prominent YouTubers, prominent social media and free speech advocates need to get behind this, because as the congressman said, this is a civil rights issue. Something needs to change now. It's gone too far.
And you're saying you're leaving YouTube to make a point, to have a clean break to show it's no longer has any semblance of freedom. Stay there. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central, we're here. Mike Cernovich is with us. I opened the phones up and they didn't get to your calls, and I apologize because I got Cernovich on because this was breaking. Where they're openly calling him a white supremacist and saying ban his speech. Now, they can ban his speech. They're going to ban my speech. They're coming after us all, but I will go to Nick and everybody else in about 5 minutes, 6 minutes when we start the next hour. Understand, folks, there aren't any black people being hung by white people. The numbers of police shooting black people are at around 100 a year. Let's say all those are illegitimate. 3,000 plus blacks get shot every year in Chicago, 90+% by other blacks. But it just doesn't matter. Black on black doesn't matter because the media is making it racial. It's made up. It's not real. If anything, the cops are slow rolling into black neighborhoods, so crime's going up because the cops are scared to respond because they're getting spit at. I don't want to hate black people. I don't want to sit there and show the footage of all the looting being just black people. But that's because the culture has sold the idea that it's okay because you're robbing the rich guy. And the left has programmed this. There weren't black people looting 60 years ago. This is MTV and the modern culture with a group of people just like everybody else that wanted to be invited into the power structure. And they got invited in by the scum that runs it to be destroyed. And every group of people's being targeted the same way. All of our youth are being turned into thugs. They're targeting them. I'm going to get final comments from Cernovich, but I got so mad last hour with even the Washington Post admitting that vaccines are brain-damaging children and causing miscarriages, that I didn't even plug, and I've skipped 2 breaks. I need financial support. You need Caveman. You need X2. You need the fluoride-free with colloidal silver and iodine toothpaste. We've got huge specials. You need air filtration systems. The Alexa Pure Breeze is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's incredible what it does for your home and your family. Support the broadcast. Spread the videos. Spread the articles. Buy the products. I salute you all. Knockout Sleep Aid is 40% off. 40% off. Z-Shield, Heavy Metal Detoxifier. Knockout is amazing. Infowarslife.com. Whatever you do, make the commitment, because one of the last freedoms is to financially support us. One of the last freedoms is to physically support somebody. So we're all in this together. Infowarsstore.com, Infowarslife.com. These bullies know they're losing control. Mike, I don't just say this to put a good face on it, but this is for all the marbles. They're pushing so hard and so vehemently because they know they're losing control. They know they're being brought out to light. That's why they're going, yeah, we devil worship. Yeah, we're into kids, hoping then that somehow makes us shut up and go away. I don't see it working. But again, the truth is we've got white people everywhere being beaten and attacked and killed right now, not the other way around. And you've got the sickening culture trying to invoke black folks to start a race war. What do we do?
Yeah, that's why you can't feed into the climate of hysteria and hate. They want people to hate each other. They want us to hate each other. And we have a higher calling as freedom fighters. We have a higher calling to bring love into the world, to bring compassion into the world. And then what we're doing is when we bring love and when people tell me they hate me, I go, thank you, I love you. And I hope that one day you learn to love people back. That's the way I handle all these people now, is to just spread love. And when you do that, they will see that they're being manipulated by the wicked, manipulated by Hollywood, manipulated by YouTube. YouTube wants murder. YouTube and the ADL want white children to be lynched, to be hanged alive. They want this to be the #1 training video. And what we need to do is to just call out YouTube, call out the ADL, ask them why they will not disavow this.
Why does the Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL, and all these groups who aren't even black, why do they hate white people so much? It's what they're pushing.
Yeah, that's how they raise money. They just hate everybody. They hate black people. Think about it.
They just want to get us all clashing, and if they can get the whites to turn into racists is the plan and go crazy, then they can win.
Exactly, then they make more money. But nobody hates black people more than the ADL. Nobody hates black people more than the Southern Poverty Law Center.
That's right, Mike. Thank you so much. Ed Cernovich on Twitter. We'll be back in 70 seconds with your calls. Stay with us. Nothing but calls. I promise. Bam, bam, bam. But be ready. On the occult. Why do top Democrats now admit they're devil worshippers who kill people? That's Breitbart. They admit they kill people. Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our Immune Support Infusion Blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great-tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
promise, I'm going to finish up with these calls that are holding patiently, and then we have a special guest joining us. I'm like a guy that goes through a buffet and overloads his plate too much. My eyes get too big for my stomach. It is just insane what's happening in the world today. The admissions of vaccines causing brain damage in the Washington Post. North Korea, more mayors getting busted for raping children reportedly or stepping down. Swedish police legalize rape, saying the Muslims can rape people. That's mainstream news right here. It's total insanity. Hillary admits she loves voodoo. Top Democrats say they do black magic rituals and kill people. I mean, you can't make this up. Gatekeeper of D.C. Society, Sally Quinn, comes out as a cultist, use hex to kill people. It's just, it's insane. But right now, Nick in North Carolina, thanks for holding. You wanted to get into the occult. What do you think about all this occult stuff? Because I didn't used to believe in the occult and things. But the point is, I mean, I didn't believe like in the movies that rich people were into it. But they were telling us what's going on. What do you think's happening?
I think, well, for one, they're out of their mind. And I've only had one experience with this. I was a young man. I just joined the Army, and I accidentally walked in on a fellow soldier who was conducting these type of rituals, and I immediately walked out because I grew up as a Catholic, and I saw it. I knew it was weird, and you know, knowing what I know now, knowing that these people that are in power, that are into this type of thing, that are essentially governing the world or the country, whatever you want to call it, that they're into these type of things is frightening. Because it is the complete opposite of what it means to be a Christian. So they have to be exposed. I mean, the only way to do it is to do what you're doing and what we're doing right now, straight up.
What do you make of Nancy Pelosi suddenly not even being able to talk in public, looking like she's completely out of her mind?
Well, like you were stating earlier, my grandmother, or my great-grandmother, rather, she passed away, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. She suffered from dementia. And I saw that clip, and I felt the same feelings that you stated, that you said that you felt from your family. I saw it, and I was like, that's weird. That is bizarre. You know, something's wrong with this woman. I mean,
God bless you, Nick.
Be in the place she's at.
Absolutely. It shows how disconnected they are. Let's talk to Woody in Washington, then Justin, Steve, and Jason. Go ahead, Woody.
Hi, Alex. How you doing today?
Good, brother.
Yeah, you know, I think there needs to be an investigation into the Satanic Church in America. I mean, you know, they're supporting abortion, uniting with Planned Parenthood. There's an article in Breitbart today about their, you know, in Missouri with lawsuits. Who's funding these people? You know, they're hiding behind the First Amendment. And we don't know what their real agenda is. I think there should be an investigation into the Satanic Church.
Well, their agenda is power, and they want power over children, and it's a fact. And the Satanists always say, oh, we're not really into God. We just want personal power and sex. We don't want to hurt kids. No, it's always about kids. It's always about kidnapping kids. It's always about aborting babies. How many top abortionists have come out later and admitted, I'm a devil worshiper, this is a ritual?
Well, it's getting into the realm now where the power. I mean, I actually know people that claim that they have spouses that are into this, that they're devout devil worshipers. So this is getting really. And then you had Fox putting on that television show Lucifer, glorifying the devil and making him seem cool and sexy. There's some really evil intent here behind the scenes.
That's right, Evil is coming out of the closet. Thank you so much, Woody. Jason, Stephen, and Justin, then our next guest.
You deserve a deep, restful sleep with Knockout by Infowars Life. Our organic formula is made from high-quality natural ingredients such as valerian root extract, L-tryptophan, lemon balm leaf extract, and melatonin. Knockout packs a powerful punch to get you through the night and achieve proper sleep. Millions of people around the world experience daytime drowsiness, but with the rapid speed of life, we need to be able to keep up the pace. Our natural mixture harnesses the power of 10 known ingredients to let your body relax and get the sleep you need. Wake up refreshed and take on the day. Infowars Life wants to bring you a sleep support formula that goes above and beyond other leading brands at an affordable price. Get the sleep you deserve and experience the power of knockout. Head on over to InfoWarsLife.com and say goodbye to fatigue. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Hey, did you know that you can now preserve your own food for up to 25 years and still maintain its nutrition and flavor? That's right. Now's the time to build your own food storage with Harvest Right's freeze dryers. Go to InfoWarsStore.com to learn more and check out this innovative and smart technology that's easy to use. And let me tell you something, it is perfect for freeze drying fruits, vegetables, meats, dairy products, desserts, and entire meals. Woo, that's what I'm talking about. And when compared to traditional methods of preservation, like canning or dehydrating, you know, like what you get at the grocery store, there is no comparison. Harvest Right freeze dryers retain 97% of the food's taste, color, and nutritional value and have a shelf life of up to 25 years. Now, that's what I call the miracle of food preservation. Harvest Right is truly the world's best, most affordable freeze dryer. So what are you waiting for? Check it out right now at InfoWarsStore.com.
New from Emmerich's Essentials, fragrance-free natural deodorant for your body care needs. Playing basketball in the dry summer heat really makes me sweat. To maintain my game, I need all the confidence I can get. That's why I use Emmerich's Essentials natural deodorant. Made with organic ingredients, this deodorant combines mineral crystals with natural botanicals to ionize odor, keeping me fresh throughout the day. While shooting hoops, the last thing I want is sweaty armpits making my hands slippery and the ball wet. That's why I recommend Emmerich's Essentials fragrance-free deodorant. Even though it's unscented, it's effective at combating strong body odor, and I don't have to worry about any unwanted allergic reactions to my sensitive skin. Whether you're a guy or gal, the last thing you want to be worried about is your deodorant. No petroleum-based ingredients, 100% natural and cruelty-free. Stay in the game with Emmerich's Essentials fragrance-free natural deodorant. Available at InfoWarsStore.com.
The Alex Jones Show, because there is a war on for your mind.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much.
We'll have open phones through this hour. After I get through these three callers that have been holding a while, we're going to open the phones up for Stan Deo on Earth changes, the aftermath of the hurricane, the other Hurricane Jose, and more. But I saw this video at about 6:30 this morning when I got up. It was here in my stack of articles. I didn't even think about it until Mike Cernovich mentioned it, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. It shows a bunch of Kaepernick, whiny baby type people implying that blacks are getting lynched everywhere, being persecuted and murdered en masse by white people, which statistics show for every white person that attacks a black person, 10 white people are attacked. That's just FBI numbers. And I'm not a racist person. I feel sad about this. It's a minority of racist black folks that are doing this, that believe it's their right to do it, just like the head of the new Black Panther Party says in Houston, go out and loot whites, go out and attack whites, don't rob in your own neighborhood. So they show simulated crimes, the police attacking black folks, lynching, and then they show a black guy teaching a black child how to murder white people. And he's saying, fine, you've been killing us, we're now going to teach our children to kill you. The total breaking of Martin Luther King's idea and the social compact, and it's not like whites are actually doing this statistically. It's black folks saying, we're going to intensify the 10-to-1 violence. Some areas 40-to-1. So what is YouTube doing? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll put a video out criticizing ISIS, and they'll put a strike on us and ban the video saying it criticizes Islam for quoting what ISIS says about gays and Christians and others, how they're going to kill them. I put out a civil rights video, YouTube will ban it. But they are allowing to trend to #1 a rap video that's on Infowars.com where it shows them murdering what looks like a 6-year-old white boy. So it is a simulated snuff film lynching of a little white kid because he deserves it. We're going to teach young black kids to kill white people. And this is all done as a stunt to get attention. It's what's advertised. It's what's pushed. It's the total chip on the shoulder culture. Where, why do you have in Miami and Fort Lauderdale and all over the Caribbean, every video, nothing but black people looting with machetes and sledgehammers and everything else? Why? Because they've been told you deserve to do this. This is how you get ahead in life. No, it's how you get put in prison. And it's Hollywood and the system doing it. And then the majority of black people who aren't involved in crime, they end up culturally getting the blame. This is a sick plan. We'll get Stan Deo's take on it coming up. Physicist, researcher, great scientist. But I promise to finish these calls. Jason in Connecticut on the big announcement. This is not me. This is her own autobiography. Top Democrat, Sally Quinn, married to the late head of the Washington Post, Ben Bradley, saying they engaged in black magic and, quote, killed 3 people. Now, they're obviously completely mentally ill, but Hillary said she used likes voodoo as well. That's in her new book. And the mayor of Seattle resigns after a 5th child comes forward, saying when they were a small child, he raped the hell out of them. Every day, some new mayor or somebody stepping down for this. I mean, this is an army of evil. Jason, what do you think's going on?
Well, it's definitely generational. I mean, these people are definitely born into it. So let me get into what I was going to say about Michael Bloomberg. So Michael Bloomberg is building his new Bloomberg Place in London, which is actually in the city of London. And it's actually built on an old Mithraeum, which is a temple of Mithras. Now, that temple of Mithras, the cult of Mithras was the most popular cult in ancient Rome. So, and the priests of Mithras would become possessed, and they were inspired to castrate themselves. And after they castrated themselves, they would dress in women's clothes and speak like a woman. They would be referred to as women right after that.
You know, you're really showing your historical smarts, Jason. I know that there is a Mithra temple in the old city of London where the Romans had their city. It's the financial head of the world. It's its own private city inside London. I knew that there was a Mithra temple there. I know that Mithra priests basically were trannies, but I did not know that Bloomberg was building on that site.
Yes, right over that site, and they're actually opening it up so you could go and see this after his Bloomberg Place is built. I think it might be built right now. But actually, an author, Tracy Twyman, she talks about that a lot. She's on your buddy's show, Freeman Flies. She was on there in July. She would be a good person to get on about that because she really goes into Bloomberg's place and the occult, all the occult aspects of that. She also talks about the Knights Templar, which is definitely connected with pedophilia. And the rites of these Knights Templar, the initiation rites, were sodomy, etc., to give themselves power. And you know, people or boys as young as 11 were inducted as the Knights Templar. So that's why you get all the pedophilia kind of stems from that.
Wow. Well, we're search engineering. What do we search? Bloomberg building on Mithra site? Where did you see this?
You could do, it's on the London Mithraeum, A Future for the Past. Mithraeum, it's Mithraeum, A Future for the Past, and it's on actually Bloomberg.com.
I understand. London Mithraeum, A Future for the Past, Bloomberg.com. Or just Mithraeum, Bloomberg.com, put that into the search engine, and we will pull that up. That is amazing. Listen. I've been around big Hollywood people. I've been around globalists. I've been around it. They're all obsessed with the occult. Some of them are into black magic. Some of them are into New Age, or others have become Christian because of their awareness of it. The London Mithraeum, A Future for the Past. There it is. Bloomberg's new European headquarters in London will be located. This is a year ago, they said it, on the UK's most significant archaeological site. A temple dedicated to the Roman god Mithras, a stewardess of the ancient site of artifacts. Bloomberg is creating an innovative museum experience that will change the way we encounter archaeology. This video explores the history of the site, the mysterious cult of Mithraism, and it goes on and provides a sneak peek of the forthcoming exhibition. Wow. Thank you, Jason. That's a powerful caller. Coming up, we're going to have Stan Deyo with us. We'll go a little bit the next hour, so he has plenty of time. I got a little bit behind today. I appreciate Stan Deyo, as you can see on TV, waiting for us with all his great insight. 2 more callers. We're going right to Stan Deyo and then open the phones up for you to talk to Stan Deyo on other subjects, but I know he knows about the occult as well. Justin in Arkansas. That was an amazing caller we just had.
Hey, Alex. I just wanted to talk about Pedogate or Pizzagate, just the mass pedophilia that goes on in the United States. There's 800,000 missing children a year, and how is this not front page news?
That's right. They also always spin it because the number's as high as 1 million. They go, oh, well, a lot of them are runaways. But if you index it, you're talking a good 250,000 below the age of 5. Now, that's a 250,000 little kids getting grabbed, confirmed. And a lot of those kids above 5 are getting kidnapped, too.
And I just wanted to tell the listeners, you know, investigate this for yourself. Be careful, but talk to your local officials, talk to your local cops. They know what's going on. They're not allowed to do anything, but there's groups of us, patriots, regular Americans. We want to find out what's going on. We want to stop it.
Well, I agree. The time's coming where it's not going to be some revolution or something going after the government. These pedophiles, people are already going after them, is what I'm told. A lot of them are falling down, hitting their heads. A lot of them are going for a swim. I mean, it's already happening. That's why they're so scared.
They're terrified. And I've talked to local police off the record in my town, in Little Rock, state police, and they tell me, you know, if you talk about this to the wrong person, you could end up face down in the river or worse.
Well, you know, it's the state police that helped expose Bill Clinton in your state, finally. They were also the ones covering up for him. But, yeah, Bill Clinton's involved in all this stuff.
Yeah, the voodoo, 1975 in Bill's book. Him and Hillary went to the voodoo ceremony in Haiti. Not to mention all the other scams they run
That's
in
right.
Haiti.
They said they had their second honeymoon in a voodoo ritual, and then Obama talked about it, too. That's what I mean. You can't make this up. In fact, I've got a copy of the book here in the office. Which one is that where he admits he likes voodoo?
My Life, Bill Clinton.
Yeah. What page is that? We can search it. Just Bill Clinton talks about voodoo rituals in My Life. And then Hillary, what do you make of her and her new book talking about voodoo?
I think that the political elite are just throwing it in our faces. They're openly admitting it now. Just everything, they're desensitizing us to all of this. The pedophilia, the devil worship, to voodoo, murder, everything.
Well, they're going to start, don't you think the way the world works in history, they're going to start getting desensitized to something else?
Yeah.
Well, there it is, Washington Post. See, when I say there's lots of news articles about this, I mean, I'm not just saying it. There it is. That's why I get so upset. On screen, Washington Post, the time Bill and Hillary went to a voodoo ceremony in Haiti. And now their best buddies are admitting that they were killing people with voodoo. Now, whether that's true or not, these are crazy people, brother.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to kind of take a look and they haven't really researched this any, there's 2 good documentaries they can watch. Number 1, Who Took Johnny, about the story of Johnny Gorsh.
Yes.
Very powerful documentary. And then Conspiracy of Silence. That was filmed in 1994. That was the band.
You know who released Conspiracy of Silence on the internet, right?
Who?
Well, I'm not bragging. I didn't even want the credit. I released it. Yeah, it had been made for Discovery Channel and never aired. We're the ones that put it on the internet.
Well, you are a hero, Alex.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I couldn't help it. We put it out. All right, God bless you, Justin. Let me tell you, folks, these people mean business, and they are rising up. Now, Stephen, we're going to get to you, but I got to go to Stan Deyo straight ahead, and we'll work you in. 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Stan Deyo on the hurricanes, on the weather, weapons, and more.
Back pain.
Now, you know you're winning the information war when the other side has no response but to resort to censorship.
Drain the swamp. We're going to have to drain the privilege out of Washington first, because that's what the swamp feeds on, their privilege. They can't stand for people to exercise their First and Second Amendments together.
You found it. It's the real news.
That's what you have to look forward to.
It's your host, David Knight.
In my talk, David, I also pointed out
that freedom of press does not include slander or libel or false statements. As you know, this is what Gawker Media did, which I sued and I won successfully against them. Freedom of press means in the open market, all thoughts are discussed. If you say false statements, if you say libelous stuff, be ready that you may get sued. So we really define this in the broadest scope. In that gazebo, David, where, as you noticed, we said Black lives do matter. You know, we wanted to really bring this issue. Look, we're not saying Black lives don't matter. They do matter. Let's move on now. We talked about against Monsanto. We talked about free speech. But I think the most important thing, David, that this was premeditated. They didn't want people to hear, particularly what I had to say about Hillary Clinton. She's the one who used the term super predator to refer to Black children. They didn't want us to hear about Jimmy Carter, who said we need ethically clean neighborhoods. They didn't want us to hear about another white supremacist, Harry Reid, who said the reason people should vote for Obama was he doesn't have a Negro accent. The Democrats are filled with racists. And the academics have narrowed racism down to people who wear pillowcases on their heads and people who have swastikas, by the way, which is an Indian symbol, which is another issue.
Well, you know, they used you as a straw man for their big rally. And the Democrats rally around that. And as you point out, they like to look like they're morally superior. They create these straw men, which is not anything at all what you guys were about. And then they rally against that. As I said earlier, we've got Antifa and the Democrats, and their straw men now are made out of bronze and marble, but you guys were used that way at that Boston rally. One of the things that you mentioned when we had that clip we played from Joe Biggs, you talked also about Hillary Clinton and her connections with Robert Byrd, the guy who was a literal Klansman, and he was very high in the Ku Klux Klan. And they lauded him. I mean, he was a big shot in the Democrat Party, and they lauded him. Even after he died, they had nothing bad to say about him, the Clintons and others. And now we've got the governor of North Carolina going through and saying, we're going to tear down all these Confederate statues. And it was a great headline on one of the sites talking about, they said, North Carolina governor to erase Democrat history. Because that's the truth about all this. Nancy Pelosi's got a list of statues she wants to take out of the Capitol building, and all 10 of them were Democrats, except for Robert E. Lee, who had no political affiliation, but the other 9 were all Democrats. So that's the real history of the Democrat Party that they don't want you to see. They've always been racist, and they're still racist. It's just that they've switched which races they're deceiving at a particular time.
Yeah, I mean, what they wanted to do was they wanted, I mean, in that gazebo, David, in the center, cell phone service was cut out, so we weren't able to Periscope or live YouTube out. This was premeditated because they didn't want people to hear a much more truthful narrative that there's a diversity of opinion in America. And I pointed out in my talk that it's the academics and academia who are controlling these young people these days. They've created very finite sets of thought forms. And if you follow that, you're a good liberal. It's in many ways, it's moral narcissism. And that's what they've done to this country. And I think what we did, and the fact that we had that video, and as Joe probably shared and the others shared, is we caught them with their pants down.
You found it. It's The Real News with your host, David Knight.
Everyone knows there's the positive and the negative in the universe, and the globalists have taught us that the devil doesn't exist. But even if you don't believe in a physical devil, the elites of the world are obsessed with the occult. Just if you don't believe in weather modification, it's declassified, they have it, it's going on. We just don't know the specifics because that's classified. And I wanted to get Stan Deyo back on because he was on last week during the hurricane, or over the weekend. He's just such a smart guy and a scientist and more, and also an expert on earthquakes, and has really been accurate predicting him to get into what happened in Mexico and more. But I know he's also a Christian and gets into the nature of this. And I don't mean these establishment churches that are just basically government-run operations, but a real Christian and people that are aware of the big picture. But there is a force in this universe. But to have the Washington Post go, okay, the Clintons go to voodoo rituals, and then to have Hillary go, I like voodoo. And then to have her friends say, I kill people with black magic in the news. And to have all this, what are they doing, Stan Deyo? Because in the last few years, but now in the last few months, it's all coming out as thousands of pedophiles a week get busted all over the Western world. The deputy pope, all these top Democrats, Republicans. What is going on? I know there's a war behind the scenes, but wow, standeo.com is the website. What's going on?
Well, I think that evil just making itself known publicly now. It's been happening behind the scenes for years. My dad and I have been investigating the Illuminists, which are the basis of all this, since about 1954. So, you know, what we're seeing now is that they're so sure they have control of the planet that they're letting these things out openly. Some of the people that they're catching, you know, will get some repercussions, but I think the groundwork is being laid for a satanic deception that will be very clever. You know, like a UFO group of people coming to save Earth. And one of the things they will do, I'm pretty sure, is that they will get rid of a lot of these Illuminists that have been satanic worshipers in the public eye anyway. And those of us who are not really on top of this potential deception will say, oh, great, they're going to come in and get rid of all the Illuminists, you know, these pedophile people and all the satanic rituals. They're going to get rid of them. And we will cheer that if we don't know better. But this is part of a deception, because Satan will come in posing as a messenger of light and remove all the apparent bad guys to our joy, but yet look beyond that, because this is a ploy, like a chess move, to fool us into accepting a satanic world order under the guise of peace, love, and harmony.
So there's a gambit.
Yes.
The Satanists are a pawn.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Look, you know, the Russian Revolution, the Communist Revolution, we saw that what happened was there were a lot of people that helped the revolution, you know, against the Tsar and everything. And when the revolution took hold, the first thing the revolutionists did was they killed all the people who were traitors to their own government. And that's what we're seeing now, coming to pass shortly, is that the Illuminists who've been traitors to humanity will get their comeuppance and will think, wow, isn't that cool? But there's more beyond that.
And by the way, always, whether it's Hitler's brown shirts or, as you said, the Bolshevik Revolution, always, or even a show like Game of Thrones, I never watch it, but I watched one episode with my son last week, and it was one where the guy lets him into the castle, and then they kill all the traitors that let him in. They're like, why are you going to kill everybody? And they go, we're not going to leave traitors around for you open the gate up for us. The only guys they let live are the ones that didn't give up.
That's right. That's right. Now, this is where we are right now. And I'm sitting here now, at age 72, looking at what my father taught me back in the early 50s. He was one of the leading patriotic conservatives in this country that tried to wake up America way ahead of time.
I knew that. He wrote a bunch of books, didn't he? Articles.
Well,
I've just seen his name in early literature I read.
Yeah, he was kind of selling the books that others wrote, like J. Evetts Haley, A Texan Looks at Lyndon. There were a few million copies of that sold across the country, and he tried to tell people that the Johnson administration, which was Democratic at the time, was really bad for us, and to show you know, the takeover that was occurring in Washington. And you know, as try as he might, we only saw about 250,000 people wake up to this. At least in our records, and that was mainly, you know, John Birch Society and stuff like that. And they painted us all with this extremist conservative brush. But I knew my dad. He was a good man and a Christian, you know, part Jewish. Grandma was Jewish, but, you know, I loved him, and he did a good job trying to wake people up. True patriot.
Well, when we come back, Harold S. Deo Sr., yes. When we come back, let's talk about, since we're on this subject, let's get into the Illuminists and their larger issue, not just the weather control. Let's talk about what's at the bottom of Illuminism, because we know they use the Satanists. They're Luciferians. What's the difference between a Luciferian and their foot soldier, the Satanist? Stan Deo's our guest. I'm Alex Jones.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Supposed to be with a few people outside. How about all week they're talking about the massive crowds that are going to be outside. Well, it's hot out. It is hot. I think it's too warm. You know, they show up in the helmets and the black masks, and they've got clubs and they've got everything.
Hey, did you know that you can now preserve your own food for up to 25 years and still maintain its nutrition and flavor? That's right. Now's the time to build your own food storage with Harvest Right's freeze dryers. Go to InfoWarsStore.com to learn more and check out this innovative and smart technology that's easy to use. And let me tell you something, it is perfect for freeze drying fruits, vegetables, meats, dairy products, desserts, and entire meals. Woo, that's what I'm talking about. And when compared to traditional methods of preservation, like canning or dehydrating, you know, like what you get at the grocery store, there is no comparison. Harvest Right freeze dryers retain 97% of the food's taste, color, and nutritional value and have a shelf life of up to 25 years. Now that's what I call the miracle of food preservation. Harvest Right is truly the world's best, most affordable freeze dryer. So what are you waiting for? Check it out right now at InfoWarsStore.com.
You deserve a deep, restful sleep with Knockout by Infowars Life. Our organic formula is made from high-quality natural ingredients such as valerian root extract, L-tryptophan, lemon balm leaf extract, and melatonin. Knockout packs a powerful punch to get you through the night and achieve proper sleep. Millions of people around the world experience daytime drowsiness, but with the rapid speed of life, we need to be able to keep up the pace. Our natural mixture harnesses the power of 10 known ingredients to let your body relax and get the sleep you need. Wake up refreshed and take on the day. Infowars Life wants to bring you a sleep support formula that goes above and beyond other leading brands at an affordable price. Get the sleep you deserve and experience the power of Knockout. Head on over to InfoWarsLife.com and say goodbye to fatigue. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Here's Stevie Wonder on a telethon that aired on every network there is. It only raised $44 million, where a football player what raised $20 million. It shows how discredited mainstream media is, saying we're not going to be political about the hurricane, but it's global warming, pay your carbon taxes. And he says you'd have to be blind not to see it when he's blind. Very bizarre behavior. Here it is.
We've come together today to love on the people that have been devastated by the hurricanes. When love goes into action, it preferences no color of skin, no ethnicity, no religious beliefs, no sexual preferences, and no political persuasions. It just loves. As we should begin to love and value our planet, and anyone who believes that there is no such thing as global warming must be blind or unintelligent. Lord, please save us all.
So, someone who's blind can't research the science and find out it's a fraud. Notice, Stevie, you're using the wrong term. Global warming 5 years ago. Now that they know the planet started cooling for a while, they're calling it change. And none of us are climate change deniers. We're man-made climate change deniers. Saying that individuals are responsible is the fraud to pay a global government a tax. We actually know there's a lot of weather modification going on. That's admitted. Bill Gates says they're saving the earth, but it's secret and won't tell us. We'll get more into that with a weather weapons expert, earthquake expert, author, researcher, Stan Deyo, standeo.com. Just amazing information. But before we go any further, let's get back into your dad, back into that riveting info. Then we've got a lot of callers here for you on the occult and everything that's happening in the world, because you were coming on about weather weapons, but obviously you've written a lot about the Illuminists. And so I said, no problem to the producers. I said, now that we're on this other topic, Stan's an expert on basically a lot of these issues. What is at the bottom of the rabbit hole? Because, look, I grew up Christian, had a personal relationship with Jesus when I was probably 10 years old, believed there was God, had a feeling for God, but also had a feeling when they were having the Star Spangled Banner at a football game. So I was like, maybe this is emotion. But then as I got older, I saw how the elite are all involved in the occult. They hate Christians. They hate real Christians. spiritual stuff, possession, all this is real. And obviously my relationship with God's gotten much stronger. I've got discernment. I've had experiences I won't get into that are personal. God's absolutely real. Good and evil's real. The devil's real. But from your deep research, what's at the bottom of the rabbit hole?
Well, we know from Scripture that Satan is going to will in fact take over the planet for a short period of time during the tribulation period of 7 years. This deception is going to be manifest almost immediately. I think we're going to see what's called full disclosure of the UFO situation in our time and in probably the next few months. The world has to get to a point where Satan is, of course, driving it, where we have so many crisis curves that are threatening to life that people will accept a new world order that is not political, not religious, no political party, in other words, that is off the planet.
A cultural singularity.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way to say it. It needs to be something where no one can complain that it's against their religion or against their political structures or, you know, laws or whatever. It has to be off the world, and that's the.
Is it going to be like Top Illuminist said it would be, life extension, like in Childhood's End?
Yes, somewhat like that, but and also like the movie V, where they came to help us, you know, in the movie, and people just rushed to join this new world order that was set up by beings bringing us gifts. It's a Trojan horse, really. And that's what we're about to see.
Well, here's the deal. I never get into all those things. I know you worked in black projects. There's a lot of secret technology, and that's been confirmed that we're 50 years more advanced than what we're even seeing. But the elites believe that they're communicating with interdimensional entities. That's mainstream news. They believe, like Avatar, that it's entering into them, jacking in, using their bodies, just like we saw in the movie Avatar. That's what voodoo is, that the president, a former president, and his wife admittedly practice, and top Democrats practice, and they use it to kill people, they believe. That's mainstream news today. The Democrats believe they kill people with these spirits, whether that's true or not. This shows what they believe. We should study this, whether they be pygmies or you know, wild savages somewhere, or the Democrat and Republican leadership. But you read Ezekiel and you read Genesis, it's very clear what they're talking about. The modern preachers try to say, oh, that's metaphors and the rest of it, but it's pretty clear in Ezekiel what's going on.
You know, in Ezekiel, it's an interesting thing about parallel worlds, because Ezekiel's flaming chariot appeared in the clouds, in the heavens, as it came through. It was hot and flaming. And when you hear reports of ghosts, for instance, appearing to people in a room, the room is colder from a lower energy universe. And when Ezekiel saw the chariot come down, it was from a higher energy universe. Even Moses, when he tried to talk to God face to face on the mount, he said, look, can I see your face? See who I'm talking to? And God said, look, Moses, I'd like to do that. I'm paraphrasing, but he says, hide over here in this cleft, and I'll put my image up on this cloud so you can see what I look like there, because if I were to come down right in front of you direct, my energy would destroy your body. And this is telling us that there are parallel worlds, just like our physicists are now explaining to us, where the energy density of the atoms in one level is different to ours, greater, and below us is another one that is lower. There's a strange thing in the book of Revelation of John. Toward the end of it, it talks about the earth and the heavens being destroyed in a great rush of heat and fire. But a new earth and a new heaven will replace it. And I think what is happening is that God's universe is combining with ours, is collapsing ours. At the end of that millennial period of 1,000 years, our universe will be absorbed into his, and a pattern for Earth and the heavens will be recreated there in his.
So there's
universe.
an interdimensional merger. We know that's what the third dimension is doing, is actually a gateway dimension. I guess the lowest dimension that's high enough to be able to expand into all the other dimensions. It's almost a launch pad.
Yes, and you know, they do tell us in the scriptures that as we get closer to that moment, the veil, the visual veil between our universe and the parallel one, we'll be able to see some of the demons and stuff, you know, with our eyes, which is quite frightening when you think about it.
Well, there's reports of people who aren't even Christians seeing this everywhere. Exorcisms, mass mental illness is exploding, and people are acting like they're classically possessed, like Linda Blair.
Right, right. Look, the world is a mess, as I heard you saying a while ago. There are political, economic, environmental things happening, and it's going to get worse here in the United States to start with and across the planet after that. I do think we're going to see more weather catastrophes, and in particular, I'm watching for earthquakes over in California along the Rose Canyon fault line from Costa Mesa, which is just south of L.A., down to San Diego. There's a report actually published here. Holly's got it on the front page of our site on the left column, down about 4 or 5 pictures, where it says San Diego quake could kill 2,000, inflict 40 billion in property damage. Now that's just you know, an official thing saying it could, but it's on the Rose Canyon fault, which I've been watching. There are a number of little
Well, let me ask you that then, because you've got the computer models, you've been incredibly accurate predicting earthquakes just from public knowledge, using your engineering skills. How many years overdue is California for a megaquake? Because years after you said it, even mainstream news says it's, what, 10, 12, 14 years over?
Well, again, it depends on whose statistics you use, but certainly it is overdue on a number of fronts when we lose averaging of the the statistics. But statistics can lie; they can mislead, and so it may not be overdue. It just may be on schedule, and it's above the average. But I would not be comfortable in California myself, all the way up to the Juan de Fuca offshore.
And how does that tie into the huge record Mexican earthquake last week?
Rather interesting, because that earthquake is offshore, and the aftershocks are numerous. That we're seeing them reported in the Mexican press and the American USGS. The fact that it's vibrating like a tympanic membrane, like a rubber membrane of sort, is worrying, because that means that the underlying landmass is thin and not locked in. It's interesting that the Soda Creek in Idaho, the Soda Creek earthquake we had a few weeks ago, I was watching it, as were others that study earthquakes, and we saw that there were like thousands, like 1,800 to 2,000 aftershocks. And then when you go back to look at it now, they say at USGS, oh, there was maybe 280 quakes, aftershocks and stuff there. They're playing that down, but it's one of 3 points along a fault line in the Rocky Mountains going down into Southern California that are starting to buckle. And I think that we can call this a sign of impending large earthquakes somewhere along that fault line, the Rose Canyon.
I mean, is it accurate to say the last 20 years we've seen the Great Rift of fault lines, the Pacific Rim, really getting into a more energetic phase?
Oh, absolutely. You know, one of the other things I noticed with this is the number of sinkholes around the planet. When you and I were young, we didn't hear about sinkholes.
I never heard of a sinkhole.
No. And I know this is contrary to established science, so I'm going to say that ahead of time. But I am one of the people that supports the Earth expansion theory, in that the Earth has expanded at least 25% from its original form. And it may be expanding again, which would explain, as the crust starts to stretch uniformly, that it would weaken the structures that hold the dirt together around leaks and stuff, where the water erodes and makes a sinkhole. So the pressure that normally, the hydrostatic pressure that normally keeps the ground together around these areas where the leaks could occur, is now released, and we see these sinkholes.
Well, don't things expand as they cool?
Yes and no.
Solids do what water does when it freezes. I mean, I would think if the Earth is cooling, it would be expanding some.
Well, I think all the planets and stars do expand as they age.
Well, they do expand until they implode. You're right. I mean, the stars.
Yeah, well, stars are a different category, because they have physical or like fusion reactions going that complicate the issue, because they produce back pressure coming back out when they start to collapse. You know, red dwarfs and things of this nature do form, but the energy that does that produces heat and expansion. So it's an oscillating state. I'm working on a paper we're working on for probably about 15 years now about the nature of gravity as a fluid mechanical thing, that all gravitational fields are a result of spinning vortices in the fluid of space, ether space. And because of that, as it's like in a glass of water that you stir with, little pepper particles in it.
Centrifugal.
As you let go. Well, yeah, as it slows down, things start to fall apart, and expand. And like
that's what
Mars,
they say, is the universe expands, its expansion is slowing.
Yeah. Yeah, there are two schools of thought on that, but yeah, I think that it is slowing down. They found, surprisingly, that there is some kind of missing material that they hadn't planned on in their model of the universe. It's dark energy and dark matter.
Now, what is dark matter? Because now even top scientists say there's an outside force controlling the universe. Now they believe in God. I mean, that's all over the news.
Interesting, isn't it? To come to that conclusion this close to when things are about to change, I think we're months away from a major revelation by God on this planet. One last outpouring of knowledge to get people to understand what it's about and to accept salvation through Jesus. And if they don't, well, that's on them. But every effort is being made, I'm sure, by God to alert people to the true nature of his creation and where it's headed. I learned a lot of these things when I was out of my body in 1969 near death, because I was very curious and asked, how does the universe work and how does gravity work and all that kind of stuff. And I was shown these things. But the whole nature of what we know in our universe is something solved by what's called fluid mechanics or hydrodynamical equations. And for that, you need to have a fluid, a fine structure, which is the dark matter and dark energy. And we've known this since the time of James Clerk Maxwell. There's a fluid space out there whose atoms are so tiny that they're like, atoms are compared to our sun now, but comparing those atoms to our atoms, millions of times smaller. And that's the fluid in which vortices were formed by the word. It says, God spoke the word and everything came into existence. It's like going into a smoke-filled bar and going, whew, and blowing or speaking a heavy word out there that creates little curls all through the smoke. And these curls become galaxies, and subcurls become star systems, and subcurls become planets, etc.
Just all straight out of the will of God.
Yes, yes.
And then it says God breathed life into Adam too.
Yeah, that's another story sometime we'll have to talk about. I did find the Garden of Eden where that happened in Tanzania at the Ngoro crater. And even the local legends there by the natives in Tanzania say that God came down to the Ngoro crater and breathed life into the clay and made man, of course, which he put outside the garden after that. But then God ascended back up into the heavens to where he dwells. But the Garden of Eden is real. You can visit it today.
Wow, I know you've done some amazing stuff. We got to get you back on about that. Let's talk to Steve in Florida. Remember, folks, we're not supposed to speculate about all this, but the elite all think they're worshiping the devil. So it's just whether it's anthropology or whether it's real, this is psychology. Stephen in Florida, thanks for holding. You're on the air about just all this occult news breaking with the Clintons admitting they practice voodoo.
Yeah, hey, good afternoon, Alex. Okay, first of all, I wanted to say that I've been doing a lot of studying on Satan and the occult and going back through history, and here's the bottom line. I know you keep saying about an information war and a war on humanity. If you study things out biblically, there is and your guest just mentioned a parallel reality, okay? The Bible puts it this way. There is this temporal earthly realm that we live in based on our senses, but there's an eternal realm that's unseen. And God's heaven, where his throne is, that's where it is. That's where the angels are, holy and fallen. And there's a war that's been going on far longer than before God formed Adam and Eve and put them in the garden. And that was when Lucifer said, I will be like the Most High. And he's such a coward. This is how his followers are. He said it in his heart. He tried to hide it from God. So he lost his place. God changed his name to Satan, the adversary, and the devil, the accuser. He hates those names. That's why his followers prefer to use the term Lucifer, because like Madame Helena Blavatsky said with the Theosophic Society, our benevolent father is Lucifer. The Satan of the Bible is Jehovah. Now, that's about as low as
and let's expand on this. The globalists say they want to build an alternate reality to take us out of this bad artificial, and this is all over the news. Now they say it is fake. They're building a new reality we're supposed to run to with them. That sounds like a repeat of what the Bible said happened with the devil, Stan.
Yes, sorry. Is that a...
we're going to break, but that sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yep. Okay, it does. The Great White Brotherhood, if you research that, you'll see that they pose, that their God is Lucifer posing as a messenger of light. And I've debated them many times in the past.
Well, we'll stay right there. We're going to come back. Thank you, Stephen. Stan Deyo, stay there. We'll be back. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com. I've got a very simple sales strategy. It's develop and sell products that I personally use for my family at affordable prices, because I want you to get great results, and I want you to come back and keep buying the product, because I follow the golden rule: treat others as you want to be treated. Now, we have developed True Whey protein from one of the top developers in the country and private labeled it at an affordable price that is delicious. I put the whey in, and ours is the best for the price it is. It's high quality, with either strawberry or chocolate flavored bone broth that has obviously incredible benefits. And you mix this together and you put in some organic milk, you put in some strawberries, some blueberries, some cherries. It's amazing. And I've gotten spoiled to this. I'm going to be honest with you. In the last 6 months as we developed this product and I was testing it, the energy it gives me, the meal replacement, all of it, has spoiled me. And you can add fruit to it if you want. You can add ice to it if you want. But the True Whey protein with the caveman formula together is simply incredible. And it's something that supports our broadcast, so you can't lose. But I want people to experience what concentrated bone broth does with chaga, mushroom, and with the turmeric, and with the bee pollen, and then with the high quality whey together. It's amazing. This is a true superfood. Of the 30 plus products we put out that are all great, this one is the most amazing. When it just comes to, I take this for breakfast. I'm not hungry till like 6, 7 at night, and I have so much energy. But it spoiled me because I used to work out to not be overweight. Now, this has changed my whole life. Bone broth is so amazing. Mixed with high quality whey, it's even more incredible. Mixed with some berries and some high quality organic milk, it's delicious. It's all available at InfoWarsStore.com. And you can't lose because you're supporting the broadcast. Thank you all for your support. Find out why Caveman and our True Whey is so game-changing at InfoWarsStore.com.
Every morning before I start writing or shooting a video, I take 2 capsules of Brain Force for a sustainable burst of energy. This is, without question, the most powerful nootropic I've ever taken, and it comes without any of the crashes or the jitters associated with energy drinks. It's additive-free, nothing artificial. It's Brain Force Plus. Read thousands of 5-star independent reviews right now and get your Brain Force Plus at InfoWarsLife.com.
Stan Deyo is our guest, and we had him on about weather weapons, weather modification today. He's really an expert on looking at government seismographs and reports as an engineer and predicting things that are going to happen with earthquakes. But we were getting into the occult because it's just suddenly Hillary saying, I like voodoo, and then they find other articles in the Washington Post where they're conducting voodoo rituals in Haiti, and there's all these missing kids we know are part of voodoo, and I can't get into all. It takes hours to cover. You all know about it. And then you've got top Democrats putting out memoirs saying we're involved in the occult and we kill people. I mean, that's Breitbart. Top Democrats say they kill people in rituals. And it's just like, what are they? I've got articles here. Swedish police say they're going to allow the Muslims to rape now because it's their culture. Here's the article right here. Swedish police cannot cope with huge numbers of rapes since migrants arrived. They go on to say they're not doing anything. And it's just a coming out of evil. Jack Posobiec's going to be hosting the 4th hour today. I'll do about 5 minutes or a little bit more into the next hour. Stan Deyo's here. Folks want to talk about the occult with Stan Deyo, and he's a bigger expert on that, as you're noticing, than even on weather weapons, but it's all interconnected. We're going to have him back again soon. Because I always have Stan on like once a year, and then a year goes by, and I just love having him on. I'm going to have him on a lot more often than that every few months if he'll do it. Let's talk to Nate in California on the occult. Since that's all over the news, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, hey, can you hear me?
Your phone's a little distorted, kind of repeating and a little garbled, but go ahead.
Okay, let me move. It's an Obama phone, so I get really shitty reception.
I gotta let you go. Gotta let you go. Because once we hit delay once, it hangs up on the person because can't have any profanity. Sorry. We're going to go to Forrest in Texas. Forrest, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hello?
Yes, Forrest, welcome.
Yes, sir. I want to talk about the illegal immigrants that are in Houston, and like they use them for I can't explain it, but I'm getting really upset because you see a lot of underage illegal immigrants in Houston being sold into sex slavery, and I'm wondering if they're. I mean, I know that I can't say I know, that's too powerful, but I feel that the cops are covering this up, and I.
Well, I'll tell you this: the police are told leave the illegals alone, whether it's families or whether it's drunk driving or whatever, because then it, quote, scares them to be in the community. And it's a fact that Houston's the headquarters of like underage, 11 to 15, 16-year-old Hispanic girls being trafficked all over the country and then out of the country as well. So that's all over the news, sir, that Houston absolutely feeds on young Hispanic girls. Standea?
That it's in the news about them trafficking. I mean, that's just part of the whole kind of evil, pedophile stuff coming to the surface. I mean, our world is, especially in the United States, just gone totally corrupt. I didn't think I'd ever live to see this in my lifetime, really, but and it's happening so rapidly, it just astonishes us.
Oh, I mean, I see numbers like 100,000 plus exploited women and children every year out of Houston. I mean, the numbers are, I live in Texas. It's all over the news. It is industrial scale. Forrest, what are you seeing that you're talking about?
Well, this is, I guess this is a 1 cent comment. This is a comment from my friend, and he's saying to me, like, they use Bitcoin and other circuit coins like that, like the actual way that they get it, and they use Backpage and Craigslist, and they have these, like, little code words, and I'm talking, like, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you can't transfer that much money without having red flags going off to the cartel.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what's going on. Arrested men who are usually molested themselves can't deal with a real woman, and they're intimidated by a woman. Whereas a man likes a really powerful woman. They want children because they feel powerful around them, and it's satanic, and they want their energy. We got 30 seconds to break. I see Stan wanting to say something. Fade down music a little bit. Stan, you want to comment?
Yeah, no, look, it'll take longer than that. So I was just going to address the fact that these sexual things are like slaves, and Babylon, spoken of in the Bible as the modern Babylon, will be filled with slaves. And I think America is probably qualifying for.
That's right. Stay there, Stan. Powerful.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
We have the new product at InfoWarsLife.com, BioTrue Selenium.
We've had so many requests over the years for selenium, and just recently we were able to source a certified organic, bioavailable selenium from mustard seed extract. When you take selenium in the body, it actually benefits the detoxification systems in your body. It helps balance the thyroid gland. It helps detoxify.
Selenium is another one of those absolute must-haves.
The highest concentration of selenium is in the thyroid gland, but it's actually used all over the body. As a matter of fact, there's 25 genes in the body that are directly dependent upon selenium. So it really is a all-around nutrient that everybody really needs.
I'm taking it now every day. This is so key. BioTrue Selenium is the product, the best selenium that we could bring you. We believe it's the best out there at a very, very low price. Exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones. From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
A good person doesn't want to dominate other people, doesn't enjoy having people under them. But if you study the hierarchy of psychopaths and sociopaths, it is their drug. And Stan Dale was getting into the fact that as in the days of Noah, as in the days of Babylon, so will it be now. It's all about dominating. It's all about owning someone. It's all about controlling someone. It's all about power over someone, and just the huge exploitation of children. The worst cities are L.A., Chicago, New York, but of those, they say Houston, not for classic pedophilia, you know, you think of like grabbing little kids out of backyards, but girls 11 to 16 still absolutely horrible, and doing it to Hispanic girls mainly, or Asian girls. Houston is the main distribution center of the country, and the caller was bringing that up, Stan Deo.
Well, you know, I didn't know that, but I do know about the various cities you mentioned as far as being sex trafficking hotspots. It amazed me when I started realizing this some time back, that this is a form of slavery that we have here in the United States. And that was what clued me into the fact that we must be a modern day Babylon, which will be destroyed by fire in a single hour, it says in the Bible. And I'm pretty sure that's America, because, you know, at a national level, we think that we're untouchable, that we're the greatest. And I think we're going to get our comeuppance here fairly shortly because of this. I just can't believe that we have so many people being put into slavery in this form, and others, whether it be sex or not, in this country. It's just anathema to me.
In the few minutes we've got left, standeo.com is the great website, your books, your articles, all there. What else do you see happening in the near future? Because I do see a great quickening of awakening, a quickening of good rising, but also evil rising.
Well, I think certainly evil is rising, and it's going to come to a head in the tribulation period. Now, I think that this year that we're seeing signs that tell us we're at the beginning, somewhere very soon, of that tribulation period, which will be the worst period in the history of the earth. The September 23rd sign in the heavens, like the Revelation 12 thing with the Virgo and Leo formation, I, along with others, have been studying this in great detail. And I think that we may see the removal of a large number of the Christians who are aware and awaiting the arrival of our true Messiah, Yeshua. When that happens, that will be a trigger for economic chaos across the planet and for cultural chaos, and people will be in such a mess that, you know, because of the disorder that will form, that they will cry out for someone to solve planet Earth for them. You know, it's not going to be like the Nazis come and force you to be in this new world order. People are going to rush to it to find, you know, stability in their life, to be able to own their property and stuff, and to be protected, have peace and safety. And that's, of course, when sudden destruction will be upon them. That's what's coming, and we have to get prepared for that. And I think the most important thing for people to do now is to, A, realize there is a God, B, realize that Jesus is his son, and that is our doorway to being saved out of this horrible mess that is coming. Don't you think so?
I agree with you that we're seeing, depending on your interpretation, the Bible absolutely fulfilled. And by depending on your interpretation, so far it's been fulfilled. Now we can interpret the rest of it and try to figure out exactly what's going to happen. But undoubtedly, a just God, a just creator, would not put people in a position of free will, but then not give them a blueprint or kind of a cheat sheet so that if you're paying attention, you can get out of it. So, I mean, God would be cruel if God didn't do that. And we see that God is not cruel and wants us to have free will, so he's got to give us a chance to choose.
Absolutely. And I think what did it for me was the fact that the Bible does say that God put the lights in the sky, the sun, the moon, and the stars as messages. And certainly the messages are in the constellations and the names of the stars. It's for our benefit, and it can't be changed by man. Those things are locked in up there. So I think we're seeing that we're at the end of this period of time.
Well, what you can't deny is all these big billionaires and globalists all say they're not atheists anymore. They say there's some outside force controlling everything, and they want to break away from it. It's incredible. Stan Deo, thank you. We have huge news breaking. It just broke. Stay with us.
Clean, pure drinking water. You can't survive without it. But where do you get it? Alexa Pure Pro is a brand new, groundbreaking, gravity-fed water filtration system that is like no other. The Alexa Pure Pro transforms water from virtually any fresh source into clean, healthy drinking water, pairing the unprecedented superfiltration power of an all-new gravity block core with a hybrid chromatic shell. It removes up to 99.999% of impurities, including bacteria, viruses, fluoride, disinfectants, volatile organic contaminants, and hormones. Filter capacity up to 5,000 gallons. Stainless steel construction. easy assembly, low maintenance, replacement filters are simple to install. And now, as part of an exclusive limited time introductory offer, you can save $20 off the retail price and get free shipping. This is a limited time offer, so order your unit today and receive free shipping and $20 off. Go to InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139. Vitamin Mineral Fusion. Visit InfoWarsLife.com to secure your canister. We have worked for years with our chemists and scientists to create the most powerful and affordable, great-tasting multivitamin formula available. Vitamin Mineral Fusion Drink Mix at InfoWarsLife.com is loaded with a full month's supply of essential vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that your body absolutely needs. In the history of InfoWars Life, we've brought out a lot of amazing products like Survival Shield X2, Super Male Vitality, and so many others. With its unique delivery system and proprietary manufacturing process designed for maximized effects, this formula is the platinum standard of multivitamin mineral products. And this part is most important. The ingredients in Vitamin Mineral Fusion are either plant-derived or of the highest quality lab standard. That means it's clean. That means it's pure. And rest assured, you're finding the tip of the spear in the info war. That's InfoWarsLife.com and Vitamin Mineral Fusion. Take action now before we sell out.
Men, give your body the support it needs with InfoWars Life Prostagard. It's time to start assisting the body in regulating proper prostate balance. InfoWars Life has set out to bring you formulations that are not only the highest quality out there, but formulas that you can use on a daily basis to give your body the natural herbs and extracts that our experts recommend. The Prostagard formula does just that, with its mixture of plant-based nutrients and antioxidants that help give your body total support. It's a hand-selected blend of saw palmetto, lycopene, plant sterols, zinc, vitamin D3, selenium, and copper. Prostagard is something that the men on the InfoWars crew take every day. And from our research, it's something that men should really be adding to their daily regimen in order to keep their body going at optimal levels. Now's the time to start naturally supporting your body. Get Prostagard on your side today, exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Sign up for AutoShip.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Out of my way, out of my day, out of your mind and into my head. Into no one, into not one, into your step, but out of day. It's strong, what's wrong? I've already heard this song.
Well, we've got amazing breaking news here in the fourth hour with Jack the Sobek about to take over and host with Laura Loomer, who's going to be popping in here in about 5 minutes. Yesterday, she went to a book signing at a Barnes & Noble's in New York City and to ask Hillary Clinton what happened to the Benghazi, what happened to the emails, what happened to Seth Rich. And then she saw Uma Abedin and said, when are you going to divorce your husband that's a convicted sex crimes person against a child? A younger lady that looked like Ted Cruz for some reason, Ted Cruz's daughter. I'm not joking, that's what she looked like. And Hillary had her sarcastic answers. We're going to play that in a moment. The video's got millions of views on Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook since then. And we broke it here first with Laura Loomer. Appreciate her doing that. But suddenly today, unannounced, they show up at divorce court. So that's in the news that Uma Abedin and Anthony, the procurer of children, Weiner, show up at divorce court today. The New York Post is reporting. So that is instant response. Here is the video of Laura Loomer, who waited like 8 hours out in the heat out there to go in and finally ask the question of Hillary. Here it is.
Nice to meet you finally. Thank you. Role model, inspiration. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Hi.
Hi, it's so great to see you.
Well, it's great for you to be here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Oh.
So the American people would really like to know what happened to your 33,000 emails? What happened in Benghazi?
Go read the book.
What happened to the millions of dollars that was supposed to go to the people in Haiti?
You know what? I'm so sorry you believe things that are untrue.
What happened to Seth Rich?
Hi, nice to
What happened to your health, Hillary?
Wait.
to the end of the line with your food. Keep your receipts out. Zuma.
Zuma Aberdeen.
Oh. I used my email. Kuma, it's so great to see you. I have a question for you. When are you going to divorce your husband for texting underage girls?
Hillary's girlfriend, always hovering around.
I don't need my book. I paid for a book.
Step out of here. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
And there it is. So, Laura Loomer joining us. You've gotten an instant response, Laura, or close to instant. The next day, they go and get divorced.
Yeah, I know. This might be my greatest journalistic accomplishment to date. I mean, if it's really going to be official, that's incredible. Huma Abedin and Anthony Weiner finally getting divorced just one day after I confronted her and you broke the story on Infowars. So I'd say that's pretty incredible.
Wow. What's happened since 24 hours ago?
Well, as you said, the video has been, placed all over the internet and has, received millions of views. And so a lot of people are responding and people are talking about it. Even Fox News is going to have me on tomorrow to discuss it. So people are very interested in seeing Hillary get confronted by the alternative media and watching Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton hide from a citizen journalist. So,
and I love how they ask you, the Secret Service, are you a journalist? Well, no, the fake journalists won't ask her the real questions. The mainstream journalists should be there. You went and asked the real questions. Great job. I'm going to turn this over right now to who's hosting the fourth hour, our own Jack Posobiec. Jack?
Alex, it's great to be here. Laura, awesome to talk to you again. I don't think we've been able to see you up in New York there since our last time we caught the Shakespeare play. But you know what's going to happen is CNN is going to run around and they're going to say, Laura Loomer, first she wrecks a play, now she's a home wrecker too, because she's divorcing Anthony Weiner and Huma. Yeah. They're going to blame it all on you.
The Jewish of the new right destroyed the relationship between Muslim Brotherhood, Huma Abedin, and Jewish Anthony Weiner. I love it. It's a great story.
Yeah, I'm sure Jake Tapper will be calling that out very shortly here. Instead of actually going. Now, let me ask you, were there any cameras there or any other journalists, so-called journalists from CNN, mainstream media, any of them here?
Yeah, so I didn't see them inside, but there were tons of media lined up outside for hours in their news trucks just to glorify Hillary and to try and make it look like this was such an amazing event. But none of them made an effort to approach her. But I later learned that there was an individual who went in with a spy pen who asked Hillary Clinton about Debbie Wasserman Schultz and her IT guy and that scandal that's taking place right now with the Allman Brothers. And I guess Secret Service, from what I was told, don't know if it's true or not, they confiscated his pen and asked him some questions as well. So I don't know if that's entirely true, but I saw Gateway Pundit reported on it, and that's what's being said.
I hope he gets his pen back. I hope he's able to get it back so we can get that out there and see if she knew anything about this. What did Hillary Clinton know about the Awan brothers? When did she know about this? When did she find out about it? We know that Debbie Wasserman Schultz was essentially working for Hillary at the time. So did Hillary have access to the Awan brothers? And on the flip side of it, did they have access to these 33,000 emails that you referenced?
Yeah.
And let me ask you about this, and I'm getting down here. As I eat my lunch, I'm going to watch. That's my favorite lunchtime thing, is to watch the fourth hour. It's scandal war. All these fake scandals against Trump, all these real scandals, just full of proof on the Clintons and Obama and others. But it's scandal wars now. Where are all these scandals going?
That's exactly it, Alex. They are pushing to a point where they're trying to cover up their own scandals by making fake scandals that tie into Republicans, that tie into the president, that tie into Trump supporters like myself, like you, like Laura Loomer, anything they can do to deflect media coverage away, right? You know, we saw this the Ted Cruz tweet that he liked the tweet, or someone on his Twitter account liked the tweet. It was silly. It was stupid. He said it wasn't me, right? But they acted like that was the biggest thing that happened in the world yesterday. So they were able to completely cover up what was going on with Hillary Clinton, still aren't covering Awan, still aren't covering the Menendez trial.
Yeah, and it's a scapegoat from their own sexual, deviant behavior. So they'll.
That's right. I mean, Laura, the mayor of Seattle stepping down for a fifth child, saying he raped him.
Yeah, exactly. And also, also, too, I mean, they go after Ted Cruz because of, you know, supposedly he liked a pornographic tweet. Even if he did like a pornographic tweet, who cares, right? Like, as long as it's not involving children or animals, I honestly don't care. But you have actual Democratic politicians who are...
Well, that's the point. They're probably mad that a staffer tweeted a heterosexual tweet. That's probably the issue.
Yeah, because it's a heterosexual pornographic tweet. Meanwhile, they're totally okay with their own politicians molesting children. And Bill Clinton having sexual affairs and turning his intern into a humidor in the Oval Office. I mean, that's
you know, I'm sorry I keep throwing questions in here. As I said, I'm going. But what do you make of the top Democrats coming out, the Washington Post, everywhere, saying that the Clintons do voodoo? Hillary, we have a clip we can play. We'll cue that up, saying that she thought about using voodoo against people. And now Sally Quinn, who was married to the head of the Washington Post, top Democrat gatekeepers. Breitbart says, gatekeeper of D.C. society, Sally Quinn, comes out as a cultist, use hex to kill people. Meanwhile, Black Lives Matter connected movie producers are showing images of 6-year-old white children being hung.
Right. Honestly, Alex, it doesn't surprise me. If these people are sick enough to participate in spirit cooking, which you cracked open during the campaign as well, then what's going to stop them from creating voodoo dolls, right?
That's right. I'm letting you guys take over. I always say I'm leaving in the 4th hour and I always stay. But Jack Posobiec, Laura Loomer, go ahead. Take it away.
Thanks, Alex. No, Laura, I agree with kind of where you're coming from. And again, this is another thing we've seen in a long line from the Democrat Party where they want to bring in this stuff. They make references to these things that we saw in the WikiLeaks. They share these inside jokes. Where is this coming from? Why are they making stuff like this? Look, if I sent you an email over something like that, or if I sent you a text message talking about, you know, putting a hex on someone or voodoo or Moloch, I don't think you'd respond with laughing. You'd say, Jack, what the heck are you talking about? Because normal people don't talk about stuff like that. So
honestly,
again, why is this normalized for them?
They are totally normalizing this, and their supporters are doing it as well. A while back, I made a video with a rebel, and I actually went to a voodoo shop here in New York City, and there were people in Brooklyn who were meeting to perform witchcraft and voodoo to cast a hex on Donald Trump. I think you're familiar with this story as well. But
that was national news during the campaign, and when he won, Hollywood met witches nationwide trying to kill him.
Right.
Well, and that's why they're doing the new American Horror Story, The Witch Show, is all about the occult. It's all about Trump this season. It's all about saying that using the occult against him, witchcraft. They insipidly tie this stuff together because I don't know whether they draw from it in terms of inspiration or they actually believe in these sorts of things. It's interesting that it never kind of goes away either. Even since the first time the Clintons were running for president, this stuff was coming up, the seances that supposedly she held.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's becoming commonplace and normalized, just like Alex said. I mean, even their own supporters think it's normal to host witchcraft sessions, you know, in a very cosmopolitan, modern place like New York City. And it's sick, it's satanic, and it's mental illness, really. And the fact that they're trying to normalize this is very concerning.
I do think it's funny, though, that every once in a while when this comes up, I'll see on my Twitter account, I'll tweet something about it, a Hillary Clinton, Church of Satan, and then the Church of Satan will actually respond to me, Laura, and they'll say, excuse me, we don't want to be associated with Hillary Clinton. So even the Church of Satan is distancing themselves.
As well. And
we've got a break here coming up, Laura. How can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Laura Loomer, or subscribe and follow the Rebel.media.
And here's the good news, Jack. Whenever I run over you guys, I'm just going to take the breaks out. So this break and then the one at 50 after is gone. You got one more break at 30 after. So you guys just rampage.
No problem.
Isn't this great news?
That's right. We're not going to break. It's all yours, Posobiec. Take over.
All right, no break. No breaks. There are no breaks on this train, Alex. I thought we needed a break, but maybe I didn't realize how high energy the Infowars show was today. And so let's go. Let's just go drive right through it. So we're talking a little bit more about what's going on in the country today. And this same culture of destruction and sort of chaos that we're seeing on the left, we're also now seeing it turning into a culture of fear in the White House, kind of where I'm seeing, and in my indications, my sources, they all tell me, they say, Jack, we can't be open Trump supporters in the White House They can't. And Laura, I know you've got sources that are telling you the same thing, that you can't even voice your support for the president because these people will come after you. They will track you down. They will dox you, and they will eventually fire you.
They have people in the White House who are censoring Infowars reports from the president, from what I heard. I think you were the person, I think you or Cernovich broke this story about how I think it's General Kelly, correct me if I'm mistaken, who was telling Donald Trump that he couldn't read Infowars.
Exactly. So they're cutting off Infowars, Rebel, basically anything that has to do with independent media, alternative media. They're putting him in a funnel. They're putting all of it through a censorship blind. And because that is why they don't want him on Twitter. They don't want him reading alternative media. They don't want him looking at these other headlines because they want to control the information that goes to the president. And now I remember you doing so much work during the election to expose what Hillary Clinton was actually up to. So why is it now that we've got the president in there that the staff is acting as almost like that they're still following the same types of policies that Hillary Clinton would have followed? Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that, it's no surprise that Trump's cabinet, his administration has just been filled with never Trumpers. And unfortunately, you can elect Trump as your president, but it's the people around him who really make the decisions and influence the decision-making process and policy decisions the most. So, having Trump in the White House doesn't mean much if he's surrounded by people who want to combat all of the promises he made on the campaign trail. So, it's a very, very toxic situation. And what needs to happen, and I know you've talked about this as well on your streams, is there needs to be a purge, right? And a purge of the never Trumper officials who are trying to sabotage him. Really, what it is.
Unfortunately, it's right. It's instead of the only purge that we've been getting is of Trump supporters. I've had multiple people tell me there's a report. Dr. Jane Ruby has a Medium post up today, a big post that says, if you're pro-Trump, you're fired. And that people will go through the administration, even at the White House, even at the different agencies and departments, to look for those people that worked on the campaign, to look for people that have a pro-Trump attitude, that are, even if you're going and liking something from The Rebel or Infowars or Jack Posobiec or Mike Cernovich, and if they find you with some of that content, you're done. You're thrown out, you're kicked out because they don't want you in the White House. They consider you then an extremist because you're not reading, and what they call it is, what they'll say, the real news. If they say you have to be reading Washington Post, New York Times, or we can't have that. We can't allow that information in here because they don't want any of these sources getting to the president that haven't already been sanitized, that aren't following the same worldview that they want to push, the same type of worldview of globalism, of creeping, lurching liberalism that they want to push forward, and big Wall Street economy.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's funny, you brought up Dr. Jane Ruby. She just had this bombshell story that she broke on Cerno News the other day about the Trump database that was created to hire. Remember when Trump was elected and they said they were going to take applications for America First candidates? And
so it was greatagain.gov, right? They established an official government website for the transition team, greatagain.gov.
And they didn't even use it.
So thousands of people applied, and then what happened to those applications?
Nothing happened. So, like I said, Dr. Jane Ruby, she had a post up, Trump supporters need not apply, because all of these Trump supporters applied, and then they said that they lost the information or that the database was lost. Like, I think this happened 2 times or so. So they're not even taking it seriously. They have thousands of people who are Trump loyalists who want to work in the White House and take over these positions, but either they're intentionally discarding of these applications or just ignoring it to prevent Trump loyalists.
That's great. We've got the article up here. Trump supporters need not apply. Greatagain.gov. And that's what they'll do, Laura. Right. They'll take them down. They'll say these applications were completely lost. We can't find them. And then they turn around and say, oh, well, we'd love to be able to do this. We'd love to be able to move forward, but we're just short-staffed. We can't get anything done. That's why they don't have time to review all the legislation. That's why they don't have time to actually be able to put forward a good communications policy, because they're not even allowing any of these positions, number one, to be filled, or number two, to allow Trump people in there. From my numbers, and this is just back of the math, back of the notebook accounting, but napkin, that's the word. About 80% of the White House is former Bush staffers. This goes all the way from Rick Dearborn and Joe Hagan, all the way down to some of the lower levels. So these are people at the deputy chief of staff level that were brought in by Reince Priebus when he was there. He's gone now, but his people are still there. They've completely taken over. They control the schedule. They control appointments. They control staffing. Janet Toner's another one who works with some at the junior levels and who is sort of in charge of all of that. They don't want the Trump agenda pushed forward, and that's why they're taking and pushing any pro-Trump people out. We saw Gorka, we saw Bannon, Scaramucci, he was gone, bounced in 11 days. They are going to be doing the same exact thing every time. So, Laura, how can people let the president know what's going on? How can they let him know how they feel about all this?
I think really just voicing their opinions. A lot of people think that their voices don't matter, but look, if everybody has the potential to be a citizen journalist, right? Confront these people, confront the individuals who are trying to sabotage.
And that's what you do. You go out there, you go to Hillary Clinton. Who else have you gone up and confronted there in New York City?
I've confronted Chris Cuomo. I've tried to confront Jeff Zucker from CNN. I've confronted Huma Abedin, Bill de Blasio, lots of people, right? And a lot of people just run and hide, but it's easy to find these people. Believe me, it's not as hard as you think it may be. You just have to have the courage to do it. And, just ask these questions. Ask these people the questions that the media refuses to ask them. Ask them why they're sabotaging Trump. Put them on the spot, because the alternative media will promote your videos and will push this message out there. The mainstream media might not, but look, we are the new media now, and we have the power to get our message across to Trump. I mean, they may try to censor him and prevent him. And that's why
they're so scared. They're so scared because they can't hide this stuff anymore. You went up and confronted Hillary Clinton directly to her face. You've gone after Chris Cuomo. You ran up on the stage at Shakespeare in the Park, and then people went the night after that and the night after that. And because of the power of social media, we can then go and share that out on Twitter immediately. So that was to remind people of how that went, that sort of operation, if you call it that way. I saw you in the crowd, you go up on stage, and as you go up, I started filming. So you're out there doing it. I put the video out within minutes of it actually happening. There's no way for them to censor it because the information gets immediately out. In the past, the way these things used to happen was it would come down, something would happen, then they would cover it up. They would say, oh, it didn't really happen that way. Or like your friend, when they went immediately for the spy pen. They went immediately for the recording device to shut that down because they knew that if there was proof, if there was evidence of what was actually going on, what was said, what was repeated, they had to shut that down. They couldn't let it out. Why? This was a public event. If it was a public event, why wouldn't they allow any type of recording there? I'm sure lots of people were there taking pictures. Lots of people posted photos on Instagram. Hey, here's me and Hillary, all that good stuff. But why is it that when a conservative or even just a journalist who has specific journalistic questions, not partisan in one way or the other, why are they going up after that? And I think we are taking this next break in 30 seconds here. Correct me if I'm wrong, team, but we should be popping out in a second here. Okay, yeah. So we are going. Laura, absolutely amazing having you on. Follow her, Laura Loomer, on Twitter. Go to The Rebel, watch all of her great videos. And I can't wait to see what you do next, Laura.
Yeah, thanks so much for everything, Jack. Thanks.
And I'll apologize to Huma and Anthony on your behalf because, of course, it was Laura Loomer, everyone. It was all Laura Loomer.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
It's Paul Joseph Watson, and the T-shirt has finally arrived. Nothing triggers safe space snowflakes more than this slogan and my face. It is the new T-shirt from InfoWarsStore.com. Conservatism is the new counterculture. You've seen how much this triggers the safe space snowflakes. The left, controls culture. They control art. They control entertainment. They have the complete monopoly on culture, which is why conservatism is the new counterculture. We are striking back in the culture war. This triggers snowflakes like nothing you've ever seen in your life. You've seen how much they absolutely hate the image of my face and that particular slogan, conservatism is the new counterculture. This t-shirt is not only a conversation starter, it will trigger the holy hell out of leftists. It will make me incredibly happy. It's available right now. Get yours at InfoWarsStore.com.
You probably got more media than I did in the last cycle, Michael.
I don't think so, but I know I got a lot of negative media because, you know, they're on the absolute attack because they're what you call slave beating. That's to keep all the other slaves in line. And they want black people and white people to remain as slaves so that we can't compete with them. So, you know, they charge us high taxes. Most of them are not paying taxes. And they just get over. So that's why I'm standing behind President Donald J. Trump.
The silent majority is no longer silent. This is The War Room with Owen Schroyer at Infowars.com/show.
We have the new product at InfoWarsLife.com, BioTrue Selenium.
We've had so many requests over the years for selenium, and just recently, we were able to source a certified organic, bioavailable selenium from mustard seed extract. When you take selenium in the body, it actually benefits the detoxification systems in your body. It helps balance the thyroid gland. It helps detoxify.
Selenium is another one of those absolute must-haves.
The highest concentration of selenium is in the thyroid gland, but it's actually used all over the body. As a matter of fact, there's 25 genes in the body that are directly dependent upon selenium. So it really is a all-around nutrient that everybody really needs.
I'm taking it now every day. This is so key. BioTrue Selenium is the product, the best selenium that we could bring you. We believe it's the best out there at a very, very low price. Exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
You're listening to the antidote for fake news. It's Alex Jones.
Sometimes I feel I've got to run away. I've got to get away from the pain you drive into the...
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Infowars, Jack Posobiec, your guest host with the most for here on Big Hour 4. Want to take a quick second to just remind you guys about the things that are going on, how you can support us, how you can support the Info War. It's all about InfoWarsStore.com. You go over there. There's so many specials that are going on right now. 50% off Super Blue, 40% off the Z-Shield, 40% off the Knockout. And believe me, sometimes when you're up late at night, you're reading what's going on out there. When I'm doing my research and other people, I want to stay up. I want to keep firing away. I want to keep reading. What's the next tweet? What's the next story? But then, and I'm just going. I'm wired. It's that adrenaline rush. But you get that knockout in a healthy way, using vitamins, using herbs to actually come and bring yourself down. That's where the knockout stuff comes up. That's so great. The other piece of this that's really, really special, the way you can support us and support things that are going on in the country, is that with the new InfoWars Select storable food bins, you can actually go and use the coupon code IRMA. So because of the devastation of the hurricanes that we just saw, we had Harvey, and now we're recovering with Irma that just happened on, there's going to be a 50% discount right now going on at InfoWarsStore.com. You guys can go there. You can pull out this. It's great, actually, because the Life Select survival food, it's called survival food because it has a shelf life of 25 years. So we're in response to the things that are going on. InfoWars Store is actually bringing it down in cost. If you use that code IRMA right now, you can get in. You can actually stock up on this stuff right now because we've seen the devastation, the natural disasters that are coming on. We know that more could be possible, along with many, many other things that could affect food supplies, that could affect sort of even just the supply chain of getting that food to your supermarket. Anything could affect that. So have something on the shelf. You have the bin, it's there. You don't have to worry about it because you've already got it. 25 years, great thing to have, great way to just have it. And it gives you that peace of mind, right? It gives you that nice peace of mind to know you've got it if you should need it, right? For the next 25 years. So why not? But moving into what's going on now in the country, what's going on, and it's this Mueller investigation. I've been reporting now for weeks and weeks that the Mueller investigation is not going to go away. And even though there was a lull, even though there was a period of time where they sort of backed off from it, now it's coming back in September. Congress is back, so Mueller is coming back, and he's making headlines. And let me tell you something, folks. They are going further and further away from the original mandate of the special prosecutor's office. They are going so far that instead of investigating Trump, instead of investigating the campaign, instead of investigating the business for quote-unquote Russian influence connections, they've already gone through all that stuff. They found absolutely nothing. So the new headline is that Mueller and his team, which is comprised mainly of Democrat lawyers and attorneys, they're going to be investigating you. They're going to be investigating social media users who were Trump supporters as Russian influence agents, believe it or not. This is how deranged this investigation has gotten from when it was originally supposed to be just about Russia hacking the election. And people actually brought up the point that the election could be hacked. We brought that up. We talked about the voting machines. We talked about this all throughout 2016. We raised the issue. Myself, Roger Stone, wrote a huge piece at thehill.com way back before the election happened. But now the Russian narrative has been so completely debased and debunked that they have to keep moving the goalpost further and further and further. And it may be very well that this is where they always wanted it to end up, because now they can say that you're not just a Trump supporter, you're a Russian influence agent, and that this investigation can turn around and say, well, if you're using headlines or you're putting out tweets that are pro-Russia or that are even similar to what we assume the Russian government wants, then you must be a supporter of the Russian government and therefore an agent. So instead of actually using evidence, instead of actually using investigative techniques or proof, looking for handoffs, looking for money, looking for dead drops, they're not doing any of that whatsoever. They're going through and making up completely artificial standards to say that a social media user posting a Trump meme, posting a Pepe meme of a green frog, posting something about WikiLeaks, the Hillary emails, which she, Podesta, and others have essentially confirmed were real. They're saying that all of that was at the behest of Russia, and that all of that therefore makes you a Russian influence agent. Now, Mueller is pointing back to what Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook admitted last week, that there's some Russian company, some shell company somewhere that bought some ads on Facebook. And so they're trying to use that one nugget of truth. I didn't see any Russian ads on Facebook all throughout the election. And believe me, I was on Facebook quite a bit. I was on Twitter. I was on Facebook. I would bounce around, going to Reddit, going to other places, try to find information, because you know you're not going to find it on CNN, MSNBC. You've got to go to alternate sources. That's why we had these things. So instead of them actually going around and saying they wanted true information of finding Russian influence, they're making things up and turn around and censor Facebook. They can turn around and censor Twitter and other social media organizations. And what they're going to do is they're going to do it in a way where Facebook and Twitter and other social media engines, Google, I'm sure, will be next. I expect Google would be next in something like this, is to say, well, in order to prevent something like this from happening, we've just got to embed the FBI and the NSA inside Facebook, inside Twitter, give them a backdoor open access. And now here's the issue, folks, is that if you've signed up for a Facebook account or a Twitter account or or a Google account, and they then sign a deal for information sharing with FBI, guess what? Now they've got all of your data. So you see, this is the way that it comes in, where they start with saying one thing of Russian influence, And it ends up circling back and circling back and circling back. And eventually the target is the FBI gets all of your information. So how does that actually happen, right? How does something like that actually happen when we started with talking about the president going forward and potentially he won the election, and now they're using it to springboard into more and more federal access into your information, the surveillance state, the same stuff that happened in the wake of 9/11, the same stuff that happened that Edward Snowden leaked in many documents that he talked about, this data sharing. James Clapper went to Congress, lied through his teeth to Congress. He said, the government does not see your metadata. The government does not see your metadata. He said it 3 times. And then it came out, the government is looking at your metadata, right? So as you can see, all of this is absolutely an avenue where Mueller, who was the FBI director during that period, who worked very closely with Clapper, worked very closely on all of this on all of these operations, they can hand over your stuff to Facebook by, instead of actually having a crisis. So now 9/11 happened, and that was a crisis that they decided not to let go to waste, as Rahm Emanuel once told us. Rahm Emanuel, former chief of staff to Obama, the current mayor of Chicago, he said, never let a crisis go to waste. Well, now they've created an artificial crisis by this meme, this completely false and debunked meme that Russia hacked the election, and they're now turning it around and getting Facebook involved and getting Twitter involved. And my estimation is that next they'll get Google involved. So you see, this is the way that they turn all this around to say, well, folks, the only way we can do this is if we have access to the data of Facebook, of Google, to have access to your data so we can go after these quote unquote nefarious acts. Any evidence whatsoever of this, they give you these paltry, very, very flimsy kind of examples of saying, well, there's this one Russian company somewhere that might be tied to Russia, but we think they're Russian actors.
Mr. Trump, what should be the response to this attack? How should the U.S. respond to such a devastating?
Well, I think they have to respond quickly and effectively. They have to find out exactly what the cause was, who did it, and they have to go after these people.
16 years later, on a planet under siege by CIA-fed jihadists, Earth, a finite space, turned exponential battleground where presently Osama bin Laden's son, Hamza, is expected to inherit the jihad that his father and the Saudis began. Time hasn't healed these wounds. These days belong to the children of the 9/11 attack, with teeth still embedded with lead and tin. Never forgotten are the 2,996 killed, more than 6,000 wounded, plus the 60,000 to 70,000 first responders affected with a slow death, replete with aluminum, glass, asbestos, jet fuel, and thermite. The majority of Americans won't be able to rest until there are solid answers to the unraveling lies we were obviously told 16 years ago. The children of 9/11, alongside the rest of America, will continue to demand answers. A complaint filed on behalf of the families of 1,400 victims of the 9/11 attacks alleges, as the New York Post reports, 2 years before the airliner attacks, the Saudi embassy paid for 2 Saudi nationals living undercover in the U.S. as students to fly from Phoenix to Washington in a dry run for the 9/11 terror attacks. On this tour of predetermined madness and horror, Mohammed al-Qudhain and Hamdan al-Shalawi, members of the kingdom's network of agents in the U.S., began the first stage of a vast terrorist conspiracy that would change the course of human history. The New York Post continues. The court filing provides new details that paint a pattern of both financial and operational support for the 9/11 conspiracy from official Saudi sources, lawyers for the plaintiffs say. In fact, the Saudi government may have been involved in underwriting the attacks from the earliest stages. Lawyers representing Saudi Arabia last month filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit, which may finally be headed toward trial now that Congress has cleared diplomatic immunity hurdles. A Manhattan federal judge has asked the 9/11 plaintiffs, represented by law firm Cozen O'Connor, to respond to the motion by November. The families of the victims have been fighting a noble yet uphill battle against the Saudi government to once and for all shine a light on the activities of the Saudi ambassador Prince Bandar and his ties to our government. Ties that the power-mad yet the powerless want erased. The New York Post continues, but in November 2000, the FBI received reporting that Shalawi trained at terrorist camps in Afghanistan and had received explosives training to perform attacks on American targets. The Bureau also suspected Qudaiin was a Saudi intelligence agent based on his frequent contact with Saudi officials. The FBI also confirmed that Qudaiin and Shalawi's airline tickets for the pre-9/11 dry run were paid for by the Saudi embassy. John Bound reporting for Infowars.com.
So you see how that goes, folks. You see how it works. The minute we start talking about this stuff, the minute we start talking about getting into the issues of the day, the issues of the surveillance state, the issues of what FBI or NSA can do or any of these other guys, they immediately drop our connection on Skype. They immediately go right after us. And this is the same type of surveillance state stuff that we're talking about. Now, I have no idea if that had to do with them, but it's kind of interesting that this always happens whenever I start talking about one of those topics or another. It always starts going whenever I get into any of those topics. And folks, that's what the overall goal is here. The overall goal is from one state to another is you got to understand when it comes to the deep state, these people never change their positions. They're not elected by any group. They're not under any review. Most largely, and you can go and look, this is in the news. Politico has reported this. Many other places have reported this. Academics have reported this. This isn't just Jack Posobiec saying it. They've admitted that there is a massive government infrastructure in the intelligence community and elsewhere that is completely, number one, unaccountable, and number two, unknown in terms of their operations and in terms of their movements to the American people. And it's those people that are able to ply the United States government for decisions in their favor, for decisions to allow them to continue to run autonomously. People call it, I used to call it the shadow government, right? And now we're seeing in many terms that Barack Obama, the former president, is being referred to as a shadow president. They want Obama out there giving speeches. They want him out there meeting with world leaders because many of these people still see Barack Obama as their leader. They see him as the legitimate president, and they see Trump as a sort of illegitimate president. And they want to create that dichotomy in your mind. They want you to create that mental contrast in your mind, because normally most presidents, when they go out of office, they kind of retire, right? They retire, they go off, they do charity stuff. George W. Bush went down to the ranch, and he's still there, went over to his painting houses in Africa, doing stuff like that. Barack Obama, he's out there almost every day, it seems. We now have confirmation that he's going to be giving speeches in Virginia. He's going to be getting involved in some of the campaigns there. He wants to talk about Charlottesville. He wants to talk about these issues of the day. And it's all designed to create a false impression that the Trump presidency is illegitimate, that the Trump presidency shouldn't happen, and that all of this can come down to when eventually Mueller goes to file false charges against the president, if he goes to file false indictments of the president, of his family members, of campaign members, to make people not have a strong reaction to when this happens. They're trying to usurp democracy by creating a false narrative that he is an illegitimate president and therefore should not be in office. So if and when they move to take him out of office, people will not be as upset. Now, number one, we know that's not true because people will absolutely be furious because people remember, the 65 million remember what happened in 2016. The people remember what happened in 2016, and they're not going to just walk away and see their president taken away or resign in a quiet and subservient manner. That was the whole point of the Trump election. That was the whole point of the movement. That is the whole point of movement and continues to be so. We're not here necessarily just because Donald J. Trump ran for president. People were already frustrated with government. They were frustrated with the collusion between government and big tech and big business that we're seeing now in these investigations, that we're seeing now with what Google's doing and the censorship. They were frustrated with seeing the getting in bed of both parties, the Republican and the Democrat parties. People saw it as a two-state, two-party duopoly. And so in any other country, this would be this entire situation. Step back, right? I like to step back. When I'm doing something like this, you know, you're going through all the details. You want to get every little thing down pat, but you've got to step back. You've got to step back and look at it. Any other country, any other situation, we would call this a coup d'etat. That this is a coup d'etat, a soft coup that's being launched by forces of the deep state, by forces of mainstream media, academia, all of these quote-unquote mainstream sources that are trying to put false allegations on Trump, on his campaign, and now we find out that Robert Mueller is coming after every single Trump supporter there is by defaming them as quite essentially as Russian influence agents. Or they're going to turn around, and Hillary made this a huge part of her book. She made it a huge part of her book in the Hillary Rodham Clinton book, What Happened? You know, what happened? Well, we found out what happened, you lost, and we want to find out what happens next. So the last piece that I wanted to hit today, before we really go around, is to say what is going on in the presidency now, what things are happening with Trump, with policy, and we find out that tonight, the President of the United States is going to be having dinner with none other than Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. Now, I think if you went back a year ago to when Schumer and Pelosi and all the other Democrats were calling him a Nazi and calling him Hitler and calling him every name under the sun, you would never believe that they would be having dinner at the White House with President Donald Trump, and we're doing so knowingly and willingly. And all of this has to do with the DREAM Act. The DREAM Act, which essentially would be amnesty for the 800,000 dreamers, the children of illegal immigrants who were brought here as minors that came into the United States. They want them all to come in, and they want them to get this complete amnesty. And they're all pushing for Trump to get it, to hand over amnesty to all of these people, because they're telling him from both sides now. So you've got Mitch McConnell, you've got Paul Ryan, you've got John Kelly. We're hearing reports that H.R. McMaster himself is even weighing in to say, Trump, you need to sign the DREAM Act amnesty. And they're making it from two perspectives. They're saying from one, and this is a Democrat bill. It's totally a Democrat bill. It's introduced by Lindsey Graham, but we know Lindsey Graham is a rhino. Jeff Flake, he's a rhino. They are rhinos because in reality, they're Democrats like Ana Navarro, right? Fake Republicans putting out legislation. If you're a fake Republican, guess what? That means you're a Democrat when it really comes down to it. So with amnesty, they think that this will, they're telling Trump, well, if you go and do this, it's going to push all the racist narratives out. It's going to push all of the KKK, the Nazi stuff. It's going to push it all out. And the headlines are going to be great. They're going to be glowing. They're going to hail you as the new Messiah. Everyone's going to love you so much. Well, when it really comes down to it, we know that the mainstream media isn't going to be okay with this. We know the mainstream media isn't going to have any positive coverage of our president. We know that even if he were to capitulate and put in amnesty, I've talked to people in Washington, D.C. I've talked to my sources. I've talked to my sources in the party, my sources out at these different media organizations, people that work on the editing floors, the production floors that reach out to me because they're not on board with what's going on, this false journalism, this false pushing of narratives and conspiracy theories when it really comes down to it. All of the Russia stuff is an utter conspiracy theory. So they're going to turn around and call us conspiracy theorists while they're perpetuating one of the largest conspiracy theories in American history. Projection, right? Projection. We've all called it that. What's really at the heart of all this is they think they can coerce Trump into signing on to their amnesty bill by signing on to this and have it be a wedge between Trump and the base. Because then they can turn around and say that this was the main issue that brought the base to the president. This was the main issue, amnesty, that the president fought against during the campaign, that the president said people have to go back, We have to come up with a solution for this situation. We want a wall. That's what people got on board with. That's what America First was to begin with. However, under this new regime, they're trying to push forward the Democrat Dream Act and offer it as a deal. And part of this lays at the fault, really, of Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell. Because Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell were not able to get anything done politically. They tried to push Obamacare. They're talking about tax reform. They're talking about infrastructure. Where is it? Don't see any of it. Haven't seen any of it. None of it's been passed, right? We're getting hard and deep into politics now. I'm sorry, folks, but we've got to cover all of this stuff. We've got to cover all of this stuff because this is what's coming down. This is the info war. This is the information environment as it stands today. So a lot of, when I come on Infowars, one of the things I like to talk about is what is the current state of the information war? Because we're in an information war every day. The current state is they're trying to push a false narrative to the president, a false narrative to Republicans in Congress by saying Trump is for amnesty and telling Trump that you need to sign amnesty. The only way around this is that you need to sign amnesty. But I got to tell you, I've run Twitter polls on this. I've seen Rasmussen put out polls on this. Trump's base does not want amnesty. Trump's base, the America First base, the Make America Great Again, #MAGA base, they do not want amnesty. They do not want to see it. They don't want to see it in any form. Now, people are pro-immigrant at the same time. That's another thing that I'm pulling at, because you've got to read through these polls. You've got to actually read through the comments, read through what people are saying. People aren't anti-immigrant, regardless of what the media says. They're not anti-immigrant. What they are is they're pro-America. They want to welcome people in, people from all countries, people from all backgrounds. But they want to make sure that the people that come in to the United States are here because they want the same culture as us. They want to be part of our culture. They want to speak our language. They want to learn our traditions. They want to follow our laws. That's what they want to get into. That's what essentially means you're an American when it comes down to it. So I think what the president should do, and this would be my recommendation, of course, the president is his own strategist. My recommendation would be to find a way to set up a registration system for those people that are here as dreamers, that were under this program that Obama did sign, and they're following Obama's program. Set up a registration system so that they can go back to the Mexican consulate, they can go back to the Mexican embassy, they have to file in, they have to go and check in to register as Mexican aliens, because and whatever country it is, even if it's not Mexico, there's people from Eastern Europe, there's people from the Middle East as well. Register, get on paper somewhere, and then set up a process for what comes next. Because if we sign on directly to the DREAM Act, if we sign on directly to blanket amnesty, that is going to turn, number one, into a revolt from the Trump base, and number two, it's going to turn into a Democrat voting bloc. And folks, that's what this is all coming down to. We're going to go to break right now. It's going to be our final commercial break of the hour, and we've got a big, big story I want to hit right before we get out today. Check out, we're coming up right now. It's Owen Schroyer on War Room, the great new roundtable show. Owen's got a ton of awesome stuff tonight. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to be tuned in just watching.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
You deserve a deep, restful sleep with Knockout by Infowars Life. Our organic formula is made from high-quality natural ingredients such as valerian root extract, L-tryptophan, lemon balm leaf extract, and melatonin. Knockout packs a powerful punch to get you through the night and achieve proper sleep. Millions of people around the world experience daytime